Welcome back, Truth Seeker. I know you guys on the East Coast. It's about to be midnight in 2022. I'm still out on the West Coast, so we got over 3 hours out here. And again, we've been doing this for 8 years now. And a lot of people have taken notice, but at the same time, hardly anyone in the world. And I'm hoping in 2022, people will start to see how rigged the game is, from the sports games, college and pro, to what goes on with the Oval Office, to what's being put in our news each day. And for 8 years straight, well, longer than that now. I've been here since August of 2013. For over 8 years straight, just putting out nonstop content, making correct predictions, teaching people useful knowledge that's been useful in so many ways. And in a way, it's kind of nice that people haven't caught on, because I don't think we'd be able to take advantage of the rig system as we do with rig sports. If more people are catching on, I feel like they would have to switch up the game. But at the same time, I don't do this work to win money off gambling. That's never been the purpose. The purpose has been to wake people up to how rigged the game is, so people stop spending their weekends worshiping football and start spending their weekends doing things like what I do when I go down to Pike's Place Market on Seattle and get on the megaphone and tell people to wake up to the agendas going on. And I do it to the point where they have to send out a guy to purposefully harass and drown me out with a, speaker stadium setup. And, if the whole world was doing that, the world would wake up to what's really going on. But yeah, if you guys think this is bullshit, I just want to go back and just play. We'll watch this video. Let me zoom in on this before we play it so you can see the date. This video is a live stream on Patreon. Oh, it looks like when you zoom in, the date goes away. Can you guys make that out that the date is September 10th, 2021? See, it's an unlisted video because these are Patreon videos. What I'm going to start doing on Patreon is, since a lot of people don't get notifications through YouTube when I go live, like it seems it's hit and miss. Maybe you got one tonight, but normally you don't. It seems like it's that way for a lot of people, and it seems kind of that's how YouTube censors, that's the algorithm. Sometimes this group of your subscribers get a notification and this group doesn't, and vice versa. But I'm going to start posting when I go live on Patreon. Just link it there, because Patreon's good at sending you an email that whoever you're subscribed to has an update. Their latest video, their latest written post, their latest poll, whatever. So I'm going to start doing that. I realize that'd make a lot of sense, because the people who are, donating $1 a month might as well make sure they have the best chance at getting notified when I put out new content. So I'm going to start doing that with the Patreon page again, but that is where I put the sports content, Pretty much everything else I do, I just put out there for free, but I only charge $5 a month, right next to free. A lot of the people who gamble spend big money, so I figure they can donate at least $5 a month to help them win some extra. And occasionally I put out other stuff on Patreon. Like I put out the first 3 chapters of my latest book that I'm just about done with. I don't know. I feel like it's still missing. Like if I'm making the secret recipe, like it's still missing one little ingredient. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to figure out what that is, and then I'll be done with the book. I'm so close, man. I have to move the goalpost another few days. But anyway, let's go back and listen to what I said. This is before week 2. This is the college football week 2 stream before the week 2 games are played. I just want you to hear what I said about Alabama and Georgia likely being the championship. And again, we do this year after year. This is not a gimmick. This is what we do year after year. These games are rigged. The patterns are repetitive. And, I was just down at Louisiana State University at the start of 2020. I went out there from the Pacific Northwest to LSU to educate their campus about their rigged championship. LSU over Clemson, Joe Burrow, battle the Tigers. How the only other person ever in the history of LSU to win the Heisman, how he died the exact same day Joe Burrow transferred from Ohio State to LSU. Plus, he also led his team to the championship over Clemson when it was played in New Orleans, just like LSU. I educate about that, the death of the rapper Fifth Ward Weeby, the news anchor who died that year, the governor who died right before the game, and a number of other passings in the city. And it was really cool. I mean, we even got to talk to actual players of the LSU football team who appreciated the knowledge. There were some on the team, though, that didn't want to talk to us at all, which I thought was interesting. And I still remember one of the players, he was just so wide-eyed when I was telling him about all this, like he got it, and he said, "Thank you so much." And in a way, I kind of felt bad, because I was like, God, now he's got this in his head, and he plays on the damn football team. But at the same time, the knowledge needs to get out. And it would get out if it got the proper respect that it deserves. I mean, if people actually looked at the track record of what we've done the last 8 years and looked at it through like a, wow, that shit has never been done before and that accurate, but it has been done. And that's why, and remember, you guys, USA Today did write their article about me at the start of 2016, trying to make fun of me. Look up Zachary K. Hubbard, the big lead. That's the USA Today sports thing. And, Vice News tried to take a shot at me the next year. But then since then, they haven't really talked about me, even though the track record is built up. And again, you guys, understand, we're not just calling the teams that are in a meeting. We're pointing out really specific things. So listen, because not only did we call that this would be the championship, but then back then I even took it further and I had another thought, and I'll share that with you tonight too. And we'll be talking about this more in the weeks leading up to the game on January 10th. But just listen. UAB in Georgia. You know what? When I get to the Alabama game, Alabama plays Mercer in Georgia this week. Again, this is from September 10th of this year before the Week 2 college games. Nick Saban has a very amazing ritual with this win he's going to pick up. And I was like, why would they do it against Mercer? So I had to look up Mercer. I was like, okay, Mercer's in Georgia. Maybe that's a sign. I'll tell you why. I think we could get a Alabama-Georgia championship again, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. Georgia had a big ritual week 1, and they jumped up to the 2 seed. And now Nick Saban got this big ritual in Georgia. And remember, I said Georgia, if they won week 1, they had a riddle to win. The number 5 versus the number 3. Kirby Smart going for his 53rd win, that special football number. Remember, I said if Georgia won last week, they should start 8-0 because their 8th game's against Florida, and Florida Gators is 80, and Gators is 80. So I really see Georgia starting 8-0 against the Gators in that game, that being a big hype game that weekend. And, it'll be heartbreak for Florida, because I'm pretty sure it's in Florida too, if I remember right. The UAB coach can stay on 41 wins on a 41-date numerology. And remember, September 11th, 2001 had 41-date numerology as well. So 41, where it's on the board, can matter. The Georgia coach can get his 54th win as well. Jesuit order is 54 on 9/11, so that's interesting. And just to be clear, you're missing the beginning of the stream, but the reason I'm bringing up 9/11 is because this game was on the weekend of the 20-year anniversary of 9/11, which was a big cultural story at the time. Again, that's what we talk about. How it's all rigged, how it's all ritual. So you got to look at the events sometimes to figure out why those numbers would matter that weekend. And understand, 41 is a big number with 9/11. Al-Qaeda equals 41, Saudi Arabia 41, supposedly all the hijackers from Saudi Arabia. Mercury equals 91. And Virgo, when 9/11 happened, is ruled by Mercury. And again, if you didn't know this, look it up. Project Amalgam Virgo, June 1st, 2001, 102 days before the attack on 9/11 that they say lasted 102 minutes, and there's a whole big reason for that. But it was called Amalgam Virgo, which in Gematria equals 119, like 11/9. But amalgam is a mixture of Mercury with another metal. And Virgo's in Mercury, and it was called Amalgam Virgo, and it happened in Virgo in the time of Mercury, 9/11. Mercury equals 41, Saudi Arabia, Al-Qaeda, 41 date numerology. So I'm pointing out how it's interesting that there's 41s in the numbers for this 9/11 weekend. And just watch. Again, for those of you guys who are new here, I've been doing this for over 8 years straight, and I didn't start out knowing all this, but it's just been piecing it together. And it all started with realizing that they were putting numbers in front of our face all the time if you paid attention. And after I was 18 when 9/11 happened, I said, come on, man. 9/11 Patriot Act, and now all of a sudden the Patriots are the greatest football team ever when they've sucked my whole life? Come on, man. Texas A&M and Colorado, I wonder if this could be an upset. Colorado is 6-3 versus Texas A&M. Hold on. I'm gonna skip ahead to when we get to the next game that relates to this championship. Hold on. Let's see. Here. It's somewhere right around here. For Powerhouse, just because it's the 152nd season, and I have a feeling they're going places with that. So, Murray State in Cincy. The Murray State coach can get his 41st loss on the 41-date numerology. Hold on, though. I wasn't fair about that. I guess he could also get his 61st win on the 61-date numerology. But the Cincinnati coach, he can get his 37th win, and Murray State's the Racers, and Racers is also 37. So, yeah, I imagine Cincinnati's a pretty solid favorite too. But Cincy's a pretty good team, so that 37th win for the coach over the Racers probably where it is. But here, now, Alabama Mercer. So I had to look up where Mercer is, and it is in Georgia. And here, I'll just show you in case you're not familiar with Mercer University. It is in Atlanta, Georgia. So, definitely in Georgia, okay? This is the point that I want you to see. Because look at what Nick Saban's going to do in this game. He's going to get his 263rd win, right? We know how special that number is, the 56th prime. Alabama's 56 in Jewish Gematria. Alabama has one of the Jesuit universities, the big Jesuit number 56. He'll also get his 172nd win with Alabama and the Jesuit motto in the most simple cipher, in Merum de Gloriam, 172, right? So I'm thinking, wow, on September 11th, this magical number pairing comes together for Nick Saban. And I noticed that the Mercer football coach with the loss, he'll stay on 52 wins. So I started thinking, okay, 56-52. That's kind of like the NFL this year. Super Bowl 56 will be the 52nd of the modern era. And remember, the year of Super Bowl 52, that was the year that Saban won his 6th championship at age 66 in that Georgia building. Brady ended up losing Super Bowl 52, but then in Super Bowl 53, Brady was in the same building with Belichick that Saban won that championship the year of Super Bowl 52. But then Belichick won his 6th championship at age 66, and he used to coach with Nick Saban with the Cleveland Browns. So, 52-56. Again, the year of Super Bowl 52, Saban did that ritual that the next year Belichick mirrored him with. And again, just Patriots, 9/11, this on 9/11, you know what I mean? Vatican is 119, Society of Jesus 56, who serves the Pope. Pope is 52 with regards to the... Well, speaking of 52-56, Pope is 52 and 56, right? We're on the 52-week year. Hold on, I better check something real quick. I better measure from Pope Francis' birthday just to see if there's more going on here than I'm already noticing. All right, we'll look from his last birthday first, December 17th, 2020. 38 weeks, 2 days. About his upcoming birthday. 97 days. That's interesting that it's 97 days before his birthday, because that's the 25th prime, and Pope is 25, and the most pure, and we got 25 date numerology. Was that the 97th season? Hold on. The 97th season... No, that was Super Bowl 51. Okay. That was a big Belichick ritual. But yeah, so I was just looking at this. But again, those Super Bowls and championships, they were in Georgia, right? They were in Georgia. So I'm like, okay, Georgia... The Georgia coach is going for his 54th win on September 11th, Jesuit Order 54. Saban's doing this in Georgia, or not in Georgia, but against a Georgia team. So maybe this is our championship again. Alabama-Georgia rematch. Let me see if they play each other this year. Alabama, do they play Georgia? I hope I explained that clearly enough. I think I did. Just, again, Super Bowls, college football, NFL, connections. Okay, it doesn't look like they played Georgia in the regular season. Let me see real quick what Alabama's all-time record is against Georgia. Let's see. It'd be the 69th meeting. Right now, Alabama is 41-24 in 3 versus Georgia. Isn't that interesting? God, well, we'll have to remember that. If this did end up being the championship, we'd have to remember that, because that means
Alabama could get their 25th loss versus Georgia, and this picture is coming together on this day with 25 date numerology, where there's a lot of 25 stuff going on for the weekend. So, by the way, Nick Saban equals 61. This game on a 61 date numerology. Last week he had that major 81 ritual.
So the one thing that I missed there in light of what I was looking at, and it was right in front of my face, I should have thought about it more. The 97th NFL season was the year that they moved the touchback to 25 yards, and the Super Bowl was on 2/5, and the Falcons gave up the 25-point lead to Brady. And, of course, the Falcons is also Georgia, right? The Saban got his 6th championship, and Belichick got his 6th championship, both in the Falcons building. That was Super Bowl 53 the next year for Belichick. But, because again, Brady and Belichick became 5-2 in Super Bowls, and the 25-point comeback on the date that can be written 2/5 or 5/2. But I was saying how that September 11th, 2020 game between, the Georgia and Alabama teams in multiple ways, it was 97 days from the Pope's birthday. And in Gematria, Pope equals 25. Well, think about this. Pope Francis' birthday is December 17th. That means the game on January 10th, that is 24 days after his birthday, but it's also his 25th day of his age. So Pope Francis' birthday on the 25th day of his age, and here's what's really messed up about this. If you guys are new here, I teach something called the Base 4 ciphers, but the cipher that's the most important, they're all important, but in the beginning in 2013 when I started and I was already able to do well with futures, I only knew these two ciphers, the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. And from what I learned from Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages, that's dark blue cipher where Pope is 25 is more important. But I always looked at things like this and said, I'm not sure it's more important. The calendar's named after the Pope. There's a 52-week year. But look at this. The word devil is also 52 and 25, right? And the earth is 52-25. The Catholic Church is related to Christianity. It's not the same as Christianity, but it's related. And, in Christianity, if you study the Christian section of the Bible, you kind of get the idea that, the earth is Satan's domain. He rules over, essentially, the earth, He's the prince of the air. But, isn't it interesting how just Earth 52-25, Devil 52-25, Pope 52-25, and you have to realize the English language, the oldest known script goes back to a Catholic monk, and the calendar comes from the Catholic Church that collects all this spiritual knowledge across the world and has been doing it since the Crusades, back when they got their hands on Kabbalah, where all this stuff comes from. So a long, long time ago, the 11th century, so 1,000 years ago. They've had 1,000 years to come up with what they're doing now, Anyway, and you have to realize the Catholic Church is about dominating the world, making sure they're collecting from everybody, they're all paying their indulgences, their fees. But, and again, all roads lead to Rome, right? That we're free, and we're required to be in these classrooms for pretty much all of our childhood, for 13 years. And look at our society. We spend a lot of time in these classrooms. We eat the same food that they drop off at the prison. And, it seems like the prisoners are getting a better education than the people in the slave school. But they never teach you about any of, ancient history and occult knowledge and stuff that's been important throughout history. But secret societies do. And our nation's federal capital is a land of secret societies. And American football is credited to a Freemason, which is why I started to look into all this stuff when I did. And then from testing out if there was any merit to it, I saw in record time there sure was. And anyway, with regards to this, and this being about Georgia, here's what's really weird about this. Okay, because again, let me show you something. July 20th. Let me show you something. July 20th, 2015, CNN, Devil, Pope. Let me see if this pulls it up. Okay, so this article was written July 20th, 2015. Why is Pope Francis so obsessed with the devil? And what's wild about this is that it was published on the 201st day of the year. Again, he's the first Jesuit Pope. He's the first Pope to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. I'm going to bring this together with the whole Georgia thing, but just a little more preview before. Again, 201st day of the year. This is the first Jesuit pope, the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. His name is Pope Francis. The Jesuits are from France, and the last French pope was the 201st pope. His name, Pope Francis, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, equals 201. That's his birth name. Just like the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola is 201. The Jesuit order is 201. And a million more things, supposedly saved in history by Catherine the Great, who preserved the order with 201 Jesuits. But not only was this posted on the 201st day of the year, it was posted 122 weeks and a couple days after he became pope. Pope Francis equals 122. Isus Hominum Salvator equals 122. It's the Jesuit motto. And what's weird is satanic is 122, right? Satan, another name for the devil. And there's even more to that. Like the Satanic Church was established in San Francisco. San Francisco equals 122. It's on the 122nd Meridian West. It's named after St. Francis of Assisi, and so is Pope Francis. So he has the connection to San Francisco like the Satanic Church. And what's weird is Catholic and Satan have the same gematria. But anyway, look at this. There's a song. It's called The Devil Went Down to Georgia, and I want to show you why this is weird. The devil went down to Georgia. But by the way, Pope Francis is 85 years old right now. Atlanta, Georgia equals 85. And remember what happened to Interstate 85 after the Falcons gave up the 25-point lead. It collapsed. The Jesuit motto, like I just said, Isus Hominum Salvator is 122. If you run it forwards, it's 85. And Pope Francis is 85. National Football League's also 85. Ryan Clark, the center for the Colts, his child died on Pope Francis' 85th birthday, 201 days after his own birthday, playing for Indianapolis, the only 201 team in the league. But this song, The Devil Went Down to Georgia, here's what's creepy about this. This song came out in 79, right? 79 is the 22nd prime number. And, of course, there's 22 men on the football field. This championship is going to be at the start of 2022, right? And I just want you to see that the word satanic is also 22, okay? Satanic 22. Now, with regards to the song coming out in 79, what's creepy about that is at the very end of 1979, that's when those huge stone monuments were erected in Georgia, the Georgia Guidestones. But they weren't unveiled with their etchings until March 22nd, 1980. But they were erected, the stones were put up at the end of 79, and then after they were put up, they were covered, and then it was unveiled March 22nd, 1980, that they had these 10 commandments for a new world. If you don't know about this, the Georgia Guidestones, here, I'll show you what's creepy about this too. It is the day that the words were unveiled, March 22nd, 1980, again, erected in 79, but unveiled with the etchings March 22nd, 80. 322. Remember, that's the number of Skull and Bones. And American football is credited to the member of Skull and Bones, Walter Camp, who was a Freemason. Skull and Bones is related to the Templars, which is related to the Jesuits. That's why D.C. is the land of the Masons and the Jesuits, which runs this nation. And it ran nations before the U.S. even existed. That's why their logo's over the Prime Minister's door in the U.K. Their logo's the sun. Britain's phrase is the sun never sets on Britain. And with regards to the whole Georgia thing, Super Bowl 51, where the Falcons gave up the 25-point lead, that was Super Bowl 51. It's the only Super Bowl Pope Francis is blessed. It was on Pope Francis's 51st day of his age, and Rome equals 51. And so does Adam Weishaupt, who founded the Illuminati on 5/1. He was a Jesuit, Adam Weishaupt. He died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment, and he renamed it Order of Illuminati, which is 201, like the Jesuit order. Just like Vince Lombardi died at Jesuit Georgetown unexpectedly the day before the 51st NFL season. He's Jesuit educated at Fordham, so the trophy each year is named after a Jesuit. Jesuits, Masons, NFL, their symbolism's all over the place. But they're doing something with this because it's just so obvious now. You know, like I was talking about there in week 2, it hadn't even happened yet, but I was like, man, these are the same damn numbers from 97, Belichick, Georgia, Falcons. Looks like it could be the same championship again. And, you know, I knew to measure from the Pope, and then I don't know why I didn't think more about the 25 at the time, but It's because there's usually so many I probably already felt like I talked about it enough, and I had to get through all the other games. But yeah, that championship is also on Pope Francis' 25th day of his age. And again, with regards to the one cipher being the most important, where Pope is 25, so is Vatican. Not an arbitrary number. And again, this is the center to rule over earth. That's the Catholic plan. They're always wanting to spread their faith, their religion. They've done it at times by the sword. I think as time went on, they got more evolved. They're like, man, we don't have to fight with swords anymore. We got like Kabbalah magic. Let's try it out. Anyway, if that's what they're doing, it seems to be working. So, yeah, and if you guys aren't subscribed to Gematria Effect News 24, I just read from the first 3 chapters of my newest book, which isn't out yet, just like the book I'm finishing. You guys, if you have time, you should check that out and listen to it. This information's worth knowing. But and again, just to talk strategy to people here before I'm going to take some calls and see how people did. But a lot of people don't have strategy, so they don't do well with this knowledge. Like there's a lot of people who are saying, "Man, Zach, I'm so sore because I didn't take your advice earlier on the." And you have to understand, all season, like every single week of the college football season, I brought up Georgia, Alabama. Still looks like Georgia, Alabama. Still looks like Georgia, Alabama. And after the season was over, somebody called in with a really awesome stat about how and I looked it up to see if it was true. Tom Brady's last college game with Michigan was the Orange Bowl, where they beat Alabama, and that game was on Brady's 152nd day of his age, and this is the 152nd college football season right now, and Michigan does equal 152. You know how Michigan wore the patches for the shooting? Look this up. After the shooting at the Oxford school just days right after they beat Ohio State in the big game, which we also liked, Michigan to beat Ohio State, but right after that, then you had the Oxford-Michigan shooting, and Oxford, like the UK, you know what I mean? But right after that shooting, Michigan wore the patches for their next game. I think it was the conference championship. And it was, in tribute to the supposed victims. But remember, the day of the shooting, the Michigan Attorney General came out and said there will be gun reform in her state. And we saw that she was a Michigan Wolverine, and I did it in live in a real-time stream. I said, let's look from her birthday to the day of the shooting and see what we see. And sure enough, it was exactly, or not her birthday, from the day she became Attorney General for Michigan to the day of the shooting was exactly 152 weeks. And again, Michigan's 152. She's a Wolverine. They just beat Ohio State. For years, I'm educating about rig sports and rig news. And I was saying, watch, when they play this next game, they're going to be talking about that shooting. Sure enough, they're wearing patches on their uniform. But again, you guys, it's because all this stuff is rigged and scripted. And that's why people who know how to play the games, they look tonight and they're like, man, it didn't even look like he tried to do that. Didn't even look like he tried to defend that pass. Didn't even try to look like he blocked that. But why would he do that? I mean, if you know how to play these games and you watch them, just like, no way, man. These guys are the best athletes in the country and they're going to do that? Come on. But that's what you're saying all day when you watch these college and pro games, if you know how to play the game yourself. Anyway, here, you got to know this. So, you see how this is Alabama's all-time head-to-heads versus other teams. And check this out. For Georgia, let me see if I can zoom this in. Okay, so Georgia, you can see, their first meeting ever was 1902, last meeting this year, 2021. But you can see there's 69 games played coming into this game. And they are 42, 24, and 3. So I'm going to do more research on this, just to be fair, because I'm already leaning towards that 25 thing since that's my thought from the beginning of the year. But you got to think a little bit about a number like 43 because it's related to championships, plus the word football's 43, plus Yale's 43. Again, American football is credited to someone who went to Yale and was a member of Skull and Bones, whose logo looks a lot like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Brady went down to Florida at age 43. And, of course, won the Super Bowl. Florida's 43, like how we got the 43rd president, George W. Bush, whose father was the 43rd vice president. Both of them were in Yale and Skull and Bones. And when number 43 got it, it was because of what happened in Florida, where his brother Jeb Bush was the governor at the time, and he was the 43rd governor. And that was back when Tom Brady was coming out of Michigan. George Bush, 9/11, Patriot Act, Patriots, Tom Brady ever since. You know, 8 years of Bush, 8 years of Obama, 4 years of Trump. First year of Biden has been Tom Brady the whole time, man. The guy born 201 years after the Illuminati was. And again, there's Tom Brady. It's not an accident he's married to a woman born on the 201st day of the year. You know what I mean? It's not an accident he met Joe Biden on the 201st day of the year last year to be congratulated for the Super Bowl that he supposedly had 201 yards passing in. And again, the only city with 201 Gematria is Indianapolis, who he got his first career win against. He got his 201st win against the Rams back when they were in St. Louis, who he beat in the first Super Bowl when the first ever forward pass in football history was thrown by St. Louis University. But check this out. Georgia and Alabama are going to meet for the 70th time. Look how old Nick Saban is right now. This is what I put out in the notes for people who were thinking about this game. Because all year, you know. But notice, Nick Saban is 70 years old, right? And it's going to be the 70th meeting. And in that most pure cipher, Alabama Crimson Tide. I mean, if you went back over the years, I've talked about this number several times with Alabama over the years. But Alabama Crimson Tide 70. And the thing is right now, the big news everywhere is Omicron. And here, if you look up Omicron, it is a Greek letter. And the thing about it is, you see this? Gematria comes from Hebrew. The practice of coding numbers into words in Hebrew is gematria. The practice of coding numbers into words in Greek is isopsophy. But Omicron is the 15th letter, and its numerical value is 70, right? So one of the big stories last week was that the media was over-reporting the percentage of Omicron cases, and they went from 70% to down to 20%. It's like, well, how can you be, you know, over-reporting by that much? And again, it's because it's all a sick joke, you guys. It's because all is number, just like what's etched all over Masonic temples. All is number. The quote from Pythagoras the Greek, like how the New Testament was written in Greek. But look at these headlines. Omicron accounts for 70% of U.S. COVID infections. Omicron propagates 70 times faster than Delta. Omicron has 70% less hospitalization rate. Pfizer shot protects 70% against Omicron. I mean, come on. And it's not just that. Coronavirus and COVID vaccine both equal 70 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. When the United Kingdom in that same cipher is 70, remember when there was the UK strain and Boris Johnson first said it was 70% more infectious? This is how over the years I realized that you had to run the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. Look at this. Coronavirus, 56 forwards, 70 in reverse, right? COVID vaccine, 56 forwards, 70 in reverse. Remember when Kobe Bryant died? He was buried in Corona del Mar right as coronavirus was kicking off. And Corona del Mar, 56 and 70. You know, if Mahomes wins this weekend, he'll get his 56th win in his 70th game. Derek Carr has some 56-70 thing possibly going on. And Sam Ellinger's making his debut, whose brother was found dead on May 6th this year, the year of Super Bowl 56. Again, Society of Jesus is 56. But here, with regards to 70, look at this. With the most simple cipher, the alphabetic order, Francis is 70. Pope Francis, right? Because we're saying this is all synced up with him. And Vatican in that cipher is also 70. And again, it'll be his 25th day of his age. And notice, like how Vatican is 70 and 25, right? Talked about those. Notice how it's 119. Look what happens when I write Francis. It's 70 and 119 and 47, right? Come back to Vatican. 70, 119, 47. The Vatican established on February 11th, like 211, the 47th prime. The Masons, the builders with the 47 degrees on the compass. In tribute to the 47th problem of Euclid, the Greek, the mathematician. The 47th season of the NFL was the first Super Bowl season. This nation's birthday, this Masonic Jesuit nation, its birthday is 4/7. You know? And John Madden. John Madden just died 47 days before the Super Bowl. John Madden died on his 263rd day of his age, the 56th prime. When I was talking about the football game, I was talking about how Saban can get his 263rd win. You know? You can see it right there on the screen. Here, let me zoom it in. You see that? Alabama coach, 262, 65, and 1. Let me see if that's showing up. Yeah, it should be showing up. Can I make it even bigger? That's as big as I can make it. But see, he is going to pick up his 263rd win in this game. 263, the 56th prime. Alabama 56. One of the nation's 27 Jesuit universities is in Alabama. It's in Mobile. Mobile 56. That's where Hank Aaron's from, who died this year, who the whole World Series was synced up with. World Series began 201 days after his anniversary of passing Babe Ruth in home runs. And here's why you got to know all the ciphers. You see how Braves is 95? The Braves won the World Series this year. Georgia again. The Braves won the World Series this year on the anniversary of Hank Aaron being released by the Braves. The 47-year anniversary, mind you. He was released November 2nd, 74. Braves won the World Series November 2nd this year, which was 95 days before what would have been his upcoming birthday on February 5th. Another 2-5. And Jorge Soler, who was the MVP. If you guys haven't seen my live call on Jorge Soler's home run in the deciding game, you should watch that. I mean, it was the 42nd pitch. Hank Aaron retired at 42. Huge number with Black history in sports. Jackie, number 42. Jackie equals 42, of course. But, I mean, smelled what that was coming a mile away. But anyway, the Braves won the World Series 95 days after they signed Soler. And there's a lot more to him. Remember, he's born on the 56th day of the year, and his name equals 56. Hank Aaron's from Mobile. Henry Aaron equals 56. You know? Jorge Soler's full name equals 365, like the days in the year. Like how we're on a solar calendar based on the sun, 365, the Jesuits, the Catholic Church. With regards to the 95, don't forget Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated April 4th, 68, the 95th day of the leap year, named after Martin Luther, who led the Protestant Reformation against the Catholic Church. And Martin Luther, again, penned the 95 Theses to start the Protestant Reformation. You want to know what's wild about that? In the most pure cipher, if you write Counter-Reformation, it's 95. That was the Jesuit Catholic movement against the Protestant Reformation. And when the Illuminati was first established, it was called the Bavarian Illuminati in 95, again founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, part of the Counter-Reformation. And yeah, it's just there are certain numbers that are really special to this gang. You see how Fauci's 95? He's the Jesuit who's the face of the pandemic right now. Remember, when he threw out the opening pitch in the 2020 season, Garrett Cole made his debut with the Yankees in that game against the Nationals in D.C., Jesuit land, and Garrett Cole picked up his 95th career win after being signed by the Yankees on the 95th day of his age. And again, you guys, I mean, if you don't know about this stuff, and you think I'm just making it up as I go, you know, I can prove you wrong in a million different ways. Like, here, just go read my book. I made it free to download the ebook version or get the paper version. You want to see it in print? Here, I'll read it right from the book. Hold on. I'll look up on the digital version. You know what? I think I remember what page it's on. Hold on. But I will read right from this book about 95 and Fauci and Garrett Cole. And this book was written... This book was done August of 2020. So this book's almost a year and a half old now. Okay, it is this page. On the subject of the number 95, a number we have learned is highly symbolic to the Jesuit order. By the way, before I even read this, don't forget the Braves lost 9-5 on Halloween. Halloween equals 95, and Martin Luther pinned the 95 Theses on Halloween in 1517. And this year, the Braves lost 9-5, exactly 9,500 days after they won the World Series in 1995. So they're just doing something so massive with Georgia. And I got to get to what's on those Georgia Guidestones if you don't know about them. I guess I'm saving that part so I don't scare people away who are new here. But one of the big things that's motivated me to speak out all this time is because from the beginning, if you look at the very first thing I ever covered, the very first time I presented anything, I talked about the Georgia Guidestones and why those things creep me out. And when I learned Gematria, I was like, man, I'm worried about 44 years after those things were established because Georgia is 44 in the most pure cipher, and that's an ugly number throughout history. Wars, genocides, killing, mass slaughter. The Guidestones will turn 44 years old in 2024, and they literally talk about genocide. And they're these huge stone, it's literally etched in stone in huge monuments in this country. But anyway, on the subject of the number 95, a number we have learned is highly symbolic to the Jesuit order, and Anthony Fauci, the Jesuit, the man having a surname equating to 95 and being born on Christmas Eve 1940, a date with 95 numerology, I want to conclude this chapter with a powerful example of how rituals are performed in accordance with the calendar in Gematria, and I want you to appreciate how special the ritual was of Anthony Fauci's wild first pitch to open the shortened MLB season due to coronavirus on July 23, 2020, when the defending MLB champions, the Washington Nationals, lost to Anthony Fauci's hometown New York Yankees. In the same game, the man considered to be the best pitcher in baseball, who lost to the Nationals in the World Series a season earlier, Garrett Cole, made his debut with the Yankees, earning his 95th career win in the regular season. Not only that, he had signed with the Yankees on December 11, 2019, his 95th day of his age, having been born September 8, 1990, what is considered the Virgin Mary's birthday. With regards to his date of birth, it is the 251st day of the year, which is the 54th prime number, and in addition to baseball equating to 54, a game of 54 outs, so does Jesuit order. And the thing is, when Soler did it this year and got MVP, it was 251 days from his birthday. Again, the 54th prime. So that's how they started the 2020 season. They ended the 2021 season with the same type of numerical ritual. And there's even more to that I write about. You know, it has to relate with the heliacal rising of Sirius, because astrology is a big part of this too, and Sirius equals 95. But that's on, that's page 63 of this book. Page 63 of the book. But yeah, you guys, I mean, again, and here, strategy. Had you bet $100 on what I said about Alabama, Georgia when I did, you easily got 20 to 1 or better odds. So $100, had you bet on that, you'd win $2,000, so you'd walk away with your 100 plus the $2,000 you made on the bet. So now you have $2,100. What I told all my people in my community to do was, if you had your future in for Alabama, Georgia, to put another 100 on Michigan to upset just in case it happened, because that was a big payout. Had Michigan upset, books were paying between 2 to 1, 3 to 1. Books have different odds. But let's just say that, you know, Michigan won. You would have bet 100 tonight. You would win 200, so you'd take 300 there, but you lost your $100 on your future for Georgia, Alabama, because that fell one game short, which happens sometimes. But what did you do overall? You lost 100 here, and you gained 200 here. You know, you end up, again, your 100 became 300 here, and you lost 100. So you're plus 200 ahead for the season. And again, that's called being in the driver's seat. And that's the beauty of this knowledge. A lot of people in this community who are real smart, they start with a $5, $10 parlay, where if that hits, you know, it pays, you know, between $100, $200. And so often what happens is they find themselves one game from the parlay being finished and winning. Well, guess what you can do? You've risked $5, right? Let's say it's going to pay $150. You've risked $5, and if this one last game comes through, you win $150. So you'll have $155 instead of $5. So what can you do when you're in that situation to ensure that you don't lose? Well, you can make a bet on the other side. And, you know, sometimes something will really come up that you overlooked, and you're like, God, I'm glad I can get this in right here because I see this now. Maybe if you really feel confident that it's actually going to be the other team, you can make a considerable bet. But the point is, you know, you're in the driver's seat. If you wanted to make sure that you were going to win at least $50 for the night, you know, you could bet 100, you know, because if you bet that 100 to cover on the other side of that one game and it's wrong, you're going to win 150 on your parlay. So that means you're still $50 ahead. But let's say you bet 100 on the other side, and maybe they were a big dog, but you liked something in it that you saw, and it paid 5 to 1. You could be risking 100 to potentially make 500. But if you lose, you're still going to come out 50 ahead because of your parlay you started with. So that is the beauty of this knowledge. Nobody else is killing more with parlays and futures than we are. And we've been doing it for a long time. And that's why whenever people get on me about having a bad week, it's a joke, man. It's like people have been multiplying all. Nobody, unless it's just an absolute moron. But it's like it's like week 15 I had a bad week. So the trolls got out and started posting videos and talking shit everywhere. And it's just like, Okay. Dude, we have roasted football overall, college and pro throughout the year. And you're going to get on. It's just like, come on, man. Ridiculous. But again, it's not just about winning. It's about seeing what is going on and proving that all roads do lead to Rome. And it's obvious that Rome runs this nation. Look at the capital, you guys. It's all Roman architecture. The Roman fasces are on the wall of the U.S. House of Representatives, which is the root word of fascism, which is the merger of government and corporation, as Mussolini coined it, the man who's responsible for making the Vatican an independent city-state like Washington, D.C. is, which has been since the end of the U.S. Civil War, which was a Jesuit thing. They're the divide and conquer gang, the Jesuits. That's what it's all about, man. That's why Black Lives Matter equals Society of Jesus equals coronavirus. These are the most divisive things of the time. But remember how they said George Floyd had coronavirus, and then they painted Black Lives Matter on the streets of D.C. on June 5th, 5-6? And realize what they do with Black Lives Matter. They're like literally employing, and I don't mean to sound racist, I'm just saying this is what they're doing. They're trying to make black people look bad. They're like literally finding big black men who are physically intimidating and, low up here. And I'm not saying I think that about black people, but that's who they're finding, and they're paying these people to be out on the corners, and they're just acting crazy and making everybody look bad. And that's been going on all over Portland and Seattle. Antifa and Black Lives Matter pretty much took over the city. They just left it looking all boarded up for the last 2 years. And it's this same Jesuit cabal doing it all. It's why Black Lives Matter burned down 56th Street in Kenosha. And then you had the big Jesuit trial with the 201 lawyer. And again, remember, you had the Georgia and Wisconsin trials going on at the same time. Ahmaud Arbery, Kyle Rittenhouse. And they started when the World Series began that was about the Braves, where Hank Aaron started in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, before moving with the Braves out to Atlanta, Georgia. So again, you guys, there's just something so big with Georgia right now. And just the numerical ritual on this championship and, what's been going on the last few years. Keep in mind the Super Bowl, the 97th NFL season, the 25th prime, Patriots over Matt Ryan and the Falcons. Matt Ryan, here, I should have played this at the beginning. Hold on, I got to get something, you guys. I got to get something here. I got to go to Jeremy White's channel and play what they did in Matt Ryan's 201st game on TV. See, we were watching this game because it was Matt Ryan's 201st game, and we thought the Cowboys were lock city in this game, and Matt Ryan gave us a heart attack. This was a day where people hit huge on their parlay when this happened, but check this out. Matt Ryan's Jesuit educated, though. He went to Boston College. And again, 201's the number of the Jesuits. And where's this clip at? I'm on Jeremy White's channel. Here. I'll search. I think I'm searching on the wrong window so you guys can't see it. Let me put it back up there. If you guys don't follow Jeremy White, JHW3D, great gentleman. He came out. He was with me at LSU. He drove all the way out from Texas to help me pound payment in Louisiana. And I didn't ask him to do that. He did that out of the goodness of his heart. So, great guy. And he's had some great catches over the years. And he's given out sports content. Check this out, though. He's the one who caught this. Look at this. If you remember, the Cowboys had a big comeback here on the Falcons and won this game. This was on the day leaving 102 days left in the year. Cowboys equals 102. This year's the 102nd NFL season. But watch what they do. This is Matt Ryan's 201st career game, this huge Jesuit number. He's Jesuit educated, the ritual with the Pope, giving up the 25-point lead. Watch this. Is beating the NFC East. And if you look at the quarterbacks of the NFC South, it's crazy. Matt Ryan's the ninth, the most yards, passing yards in the history of the league, and of course you got Brady and Brees with 30 more thousand yards. That's a lot of yards, that's a lot of miles, and that is 201 laps. You see how they clan you? This is a Matt Ryan's 201st career game. They got to put up this stat, about 201 laps around the stadium. Come on, man. But look at this. I want to go back to when they had all... Well, God, there's something to say about Elvis. You see how it shows Matt Ryan on 54,000 and some yards? Watch this. Again, let's just go back to those two classic ciphers. Look at this. Boston College is where he went to school. Notice how Boston College and Jesuit order are both 54, 144. And again, look this up. June 12th, 12/6. You notice this next stat they go to in this video is 126. I'll show you something about 126 in a second. They got this, 126 miles thing here. Here, I'll just show you real quick. You see how John Carroll's also 54, but instead of 144, he's 126? John Carroll established the first Jesuit university, Georgetown, right after his 54th birthday. And the word sun in the green cipher is 54. It's all about the sun. The Catholic Church, Sunday, the calendar based on the sun, heliocentrism's 201. Anyway, John Carroll's name is also 126. On 12/6, 2020, there was something called Transition Integrity Project, and that was at Georgetown, a simulation of the 2020 election between Biden and Trump. And in the simulation, Biden narrowly wins. Trump refuses to step down. He says he's cheated, which leads to deadly violence, which was the Capitol insurrection. But that simulation at Georgetown, established by Mr. 126 on 12/6, kind of like how Kobe died while traveling from Catholic Mass on another 126 date, and his full name is 54, dead the weekend before Super Bowl 54. But from the simulation to the election was 144 days, you see? And, there's just so many examples like that throughout history. JFK. Here's why you got to know it forwards and backwards. Okay. The Jesuit Order 72 up there is huge too. JFK met with the Pope on July 2nd and died 144 days from it on November 22nd. 72144. The Jesuits were credited on a 72-date numerology and a million more things. Huge numbers with the Jesuits. When Beau Biden died at age 46, Joe Biden was 72. When Joe Biden's wife and daughter died after he became senator-elect, that was in 1972. So on and so forth. And tomorrow's week 17, by the way, or Sunday is, for the NFL. 153 is the 17th triangular number. It's going to be Brady's 153rd day of his age. Could be a funny game. But remember when LeBron came over on the $153 million deal to LA on 1/7, July 1st, NBA 17? And I said right then that day, I said, in LeBron's 17th season, he'll win the Lakers the 17th championship because NBA 17, he's coming from Ohio, the 17th state. Again, all of these numbers get used ritualistically by the Jesuits. LeBron James was born 201 days after the 1984 NBA Finals ended. By the way, the basketball player who's dead on his birthday, Sam Jones, died yesterday on his birthday. Sam Jones died on his 190th day of his age. That's the 19th triangular number. This is LeBron's 19th season. The season began early on October 19th. Everyone's getting COVID-19, 19 days from their birthday, including on the Lakers. And don't forget, 19 weeks after the real King James's birthday, which is June 19th, 19 weeks after his birthday, the Lakers beat the Cavs, getting their 67th win versus the Cavs, which is the 19th prime. And now you got a death on LeBron's birthday in his 19th season, the guy who turned 19 in his first NBA season. And again, it's Sam Jones, who played for the Celtics, who also have 17 championships. And again, on the 190th day of his age, which is the 19th triangular number. That just means if you had 1 through 19 together, it equals 190. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 all the way up to plus 19. So, you guys got here late. Again, we played the clips from the stream on... here, I'll let you guys listen to it one more time. You guys might be drinking and stuff tonight. You might be drinking. Maybe you got to hear it 2 times. But this is from September 10th before week 2. And these were our clues that the championship very well could be Georgia and Alabama. And I told people, I said, this is worth a future. And you want to get this in while there's still odds. So here we go. We'll play it one more time. And then we'll take some calls. And hopefully you won tonight off this. Should have. Here we go.
UAB in Georgia. You know what? When I get to the Alabama game, Alabama plays Mercer in Georgia this week. Nick Saban has a very amazing ritual with this win he's going to pick up. And I was like, why would they do it against Mercer? So I had to look up Mercer. I was like, okay, Mercer's in Georgia. Maybe that's a sign. I'll tell you why. I think we could get a Alabama-Georgia championship again, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. Georgia had a big ritual week 1, and they jumped up to the 2 seed. And now Nick Saban got this big ritual in Georgia. And remember, I said Georgia, if they won week 1, they had a riddle to win. The number 5 versus the number 3. Kirby Smart going for his 53rd win, that special football number. Remember, I said if Georgia won last week, they should.
And again, week 16, we just murdered in the NFL because 53 is the 16th prime. Again, I'm always teaching about the same number patterns. There's certain numbers that are super special in these sports. 53 is a big one in the NFL, talking about it there, winning big for us last weekend. Again, you guys, that's why for 8 years I've taught the same stuff. It's only evolved, though, because we learn more with each passing season. Just like if you study anything, you should continually learn more. It's kind of one of the purposes of living, like to advance yourself and learn more and discover more about the world you live in. I think a lot of Americans, though, they think once they graduate from high school, all their job is to do is, work, pay taxes, and buy some consumer type of shit. But really, I don't think that's what life's about. I think life's about kind of thinking about why we're here and what the real purpose is. If you think it's the stuff that's marketed to you on TV, you better think again, because our ancestors didn't have these kind of devices always in our faces. But here, let's go. We're just listen to a little bit more of this, then we'll take some calls.
Should start 8-0 because their 8th game's against Florida, and Florida Gators is 80, and Gators is 80. So I really see Georgia starting 8-0 against the Gators in that game, that being a big hype game that weekend. And, it'll be heartbreak for Florida, because I'm pretty sure it's in Florida too, if I remember right. The UAB coach can stay on 41 wins on a 41-date numerology. And remember, September 11th, 2001 had 41-date numerology.
Again, these games were on September 11th. That's what I'm talking about, September 11th.
As well. So 41, where it's on the board, can matter. The Georgia coach can get his 54th win as well. Jesuit order is 54 on 9/11, so that's interesting. And Texas A&M and Colorado, I wonder if this could be an upset.
Hold on.
And in Murray State's the Racers, and Racers is also 37. So, yeah, I imagine Cincinnati's a pretty solid favorite too. But Cincy's a pretty good team, so that 37th win for the coach over the Racers probably where it is. But here, now, Alabama Mercer. So I had to look up where Mercer is, and it is in Georgia. And here, I'll just show you in case you're not familiar either. Mercer University. It is in Atlanta, Georgia. So, definitely in Georgia, okay? This is the point that I want you to see. Because look at what Nick Saban's going to do in this game. He's going to get his 263rd win, right? We know how special that number is. The 56th prime. Alabama's 56 in Jewish.
And again, you guys, John Madden just died on his 263rd day of his age. Again, you think that's a coincidence? The 56th prime right before Super Bowl 56 when John Madden, again, is 47 and he died 47 days before Super Bowl 56 and the first Super Bowl season was the 47th? You really think me explaining these same things every damn season's a coincidence? If you do, man, there's something seriously wrong with you. Please know that.
Gematria, Alabama has one of the Jesuit universities, the big Jesuit number 56. He'll also get his 172nd win with Alabama, and the Jesuit motto in the most simple cipher, in Merum de Gloriam, 172, right? So, I'm thinking, wow, on September 11th, this magical number pairing comes together for Nick Saban. And I noticed that the Mercer football coach with the loss, he'll stay on 52 wins. So I started thinking, okay, 56-52. That's kind of like the NFL this year. Super Bowl 56 will be the 52nd of the modern era. And remember, the year of Super Bowl 52, that was the year that Saban won his 6th championship at age 66 in that Georgia building. Brady ended up losing Super Bowl 52, but then in Super Bowl 53, Brady was in the same building with Belichick that Saban won that championship the year of Super Bowl 52. But then Belichick won his 6th championship at age 66, and he used to coach with Nick Saban with the Cleveland Browns.
You know what's messed up? Okay, so again, Saban gets his 6th at age 66. Belichick does it the next year in the same building in Georgia. the sixth championship at age 66, 666. I just showed what's up with 2022 and Satanic and the Devil Went Down to Georgia song and the Georgia Guidestones. Remember, the pandemic's going to hit its 666th day on January 5th. January 6th will be 666 days after the pandemic was declared. Remember, the 5G rollout with the new frequency nationwide is January 5th, the 666th day of the pandemic. And in Sumerian Gematria, computers 666, internet 666, vaccination 666, mandatory 666. At the beginning of the pandemic, Congress did bill HR 6666 about the cell phone companies contact tracing, keeping tabs on us because of the new COVID rules. That kind of slipped in and just became the policy that's going on in the nation, and nobody really thinks about it anymore. But I'm telling you, man, they're building a crazy police state. But somehow Georgia's a huge part of this, and I think it's because it's where the Georgia Guidestones are. And if you don't know what the Georgia Guidestones are, right after I'm finished just replaying this, just make sure it all soaked in. You know, we'll look up the Georgia Guidestones, and then we'll take some calls. Here we go.
So, 52-56. Again, the year of Super Bowl 52, Saban did that ritual that the next year Belichick mirrored him with. And, again, just Patriots, 9/11, this on 9/11, you know what I mean? Vatican is 119, Society of Jesus 56, who serves the Pope. Pope is 52 with regards to the... Well, speaking of 52-56, Pope is 52 and 56, right? We're on the 52-week year. Hold on, I better check something real quick. I better measure from Pope Francis' birthday just to see if there's more going on here than I'm already noticing. All right, we'll look from his last birthday first, December 17th, 2020. 38 weeks, 2 days. His upcoming birthday. 97 days. That's interesting that it's 97 days before his birthday, because that's the 25th prime, and Pope is 25 in the most pure, and we got 25 date numerology.
And then again, the one thing I didn't think right there is I said, wait a minute, the college championship's on the 25th day of the Pope's age. So, what are the odds? Again, there's the song The Devil Went Down to Georgia in the most pure cipher. Pope is 25, Devil's 25, Vatican's 25, Earth's 25. And again, this is what they do. They got all the news and the sports and their history. It's all choreographed and synced. And the way to understand this is through 1968. 1968 is the only season the Jets ever won the Super Bowl. Broadway Joe, where he guaranteed they'd win his dogs. 1968, the New York Jets win. Think about New York Jets, 9/11. In 1968, 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. World Trade Center construction began. George W. Bush graduated from Yale in Skull and Bones. NFL credited to a Skull and Bonesman, Walter Camp. Boeing debuted their jumbo jetliner from Seattle. The construction firm that built the World Trade Centers, Magnuson Klemenkic Associates, they're from Seattle. Seattle, Washington equals 68. Seattle alone equals 19 like chaos, like the 19 hijackers on 9/11, 19 years before COVID-19, where the pandemic started in Seattle, right in Bill Gates' backyard, across the street from the world's biggest needle, in King County when Corona means crown. But, yeah, man, all this stuff is massive. All of this at once. I'm telling you, the devil went down to Georgia, the whole pandemic, which is, don't forget, it started with the Event 201 coronavirus pandemic simulation, and the first case of corona was 56 days after that. Go figure. But, yeah, anyway, I'll take your guys' thoughts. And, again, congrats to the winners. For all the people who are mad because Michigan didn't win, I don't know what to tell you, man. I gave you guys winning advice again. You should be way ahead after tonight. You should be happy. Your future should have hit from before week 2. Your Michigan hedge, who cares if it didn't hit? You should be thousands of dollars ahead. So, again, if you're mad about the results tonight, really got to work on the strategy and the listening skills and take the advice I give out. All year I hammered that Alabama-Georgia future was a real good one. And, the thing about the Michigan thing is, see, this is kind of what killed. I love having the community and people calling them with the observations, but I wouldn't even have saw the Michigan possible scenario with the Brady 152 thing, and if somebody hadn't called in and given it to me during the show. But I did say it was a great observation, and I said, yeah, it's worth hedging in case that happens. But, had I not had that piece of information, I probably wouldn't even have thought to hedge. I would have thought all season we've said Alabama, Georgia. It's lined up all year. I don't know why we'd go against it now. And sometimes I'm that way, but if I think there's a chance and, to play it safe, it's worth the hedge. Better safe than sorry. Because, again, let's say you'd hedged and you'd won tonight, you would have won it for the season. Because you hedged tonight and you didn't win, you're still way ahead for the season. Just your insurance bet didn't come through. If you think that's like people leave comments like, oh, Zach has no balls, you can't just stick with it. It's like, no balls, dude. It's called being smart, Mr. No Balls guy who I grew up with in high school, him and his brother died with their car in flames. You know what I mean? Real story. R.I.P. Two young, real ballsy brothers that had too big of balls. They both got real wasted when they were teenagers and got in a deadly car accident. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not all about balls. Sometimes it's about playing it the right way, playing it smart. So, anyway, hold on. Okay, we got our first call as soon as I pop it open. Cleveland, Ohio, the birthplace of football. What's up, Ohio?
What's going on, Zach? Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Hey, man, you just touched on something that brought a thought into my mind. That's the relationship between the gematria of the words that have the sum of 52 and 25 in their relations.
25 and 11? Is that what you said?
You were just talking about how the number 52 and the number 25, certain words like Pope and Earth, and Satan or devil, how they all equal, like the relationship between 25 and 52.
Okay, 25, 52, yeah.
Now check this out, Zach. This is one of those situations where the 13-moon calendar shows itself to be a pivotal, I want to say, source or even weapon that the people in power use or have used when the English language was established. Now, the number 25 that you just mentioned, all the words that sum to 25. Now, if you look at that number and you approach it from a 13-moon calendar lens, and you look at that number as the second moon and the fifth day, okay? 2/5, the second moon and the fifth day.
Okay.
If you go to the second moon and the fifth day on a 13-moon calendar, the Gregorian date that falls on 2/5 is August 27th, Zach. Now, what is that day?
I gotta think about it.
August 27th is the 239th,
the 52nd prime. That's right. That's the day. That's the day Harvey hit. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing that you stress a lot is how perfect, not only how the language is structured, but how the Gregorian calendar paired and married with the language is like a perfect system. When you add the 13-moon calendar into the equation, it just opens up. It gives like not only understanding of the gematria of why words sum to certain things, but also the relationships. Now this is something that came into my mind years ago, but just hearing you talk about the relationship between certain numbers like 52 and 25 in a gematria, I had to think like, hold up. 2/5, the second moon in the fifth day, if I go there, I'm going to find that's August 27th, the 239th day of the year, 239 being the 52nd prime. And the relationship between that number, those numbers, 25 and 52, reflections of each other, it just becomes so more meaningful. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's pretty much all I had, man. I heard you mention it, but yeah, man, there's no doubt about it that you definitely spot on. Another, you call it a future, we call it a future, but we're talking about 4, 5, 6 months in advance, calling out futures to games, man, and you know what, this information, man, it's changed my life. Just me personally, man. I know, I can imagine what the effect it's had on the people that that you've encountered since you started. But man, Zach, you probably can't even begin to fathom what the ripple effect that you've caused by doing this.
We got to make it bigger, though. We need to have a ripple effect so that we actually ruin their plans, because their plans are still being achieved. My whole thing was, I was saying for all these years in advance, if we didn't wake up, 2020 was going to be a bad year for humanity, and I was not wrong about that either. And that's why, because their plans are being achieved. We got to stop their plans. But I do hear, and by the way, just for people who what he's saying about the 13 moon calendar, I know it's right, because he's for years he's been calling in, making these points. You have to remember, the Gregorian calendar was built after the 13 moon, essentially Julian calendar. That was a lunar-based calendar. So no doubt the lunar calendar and the solar calendar are synced up. I mean, that's what the Catholic Church is all about. Jesus the sun and Mary the moon. So, indeed.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. Hey, thanks for taking my call, though, Zach, man. Hey, keep on strong, man. You know what? Their plans might give off the allure and the glitter that their plans are being followed through. And you know what? It might take another generation or two before we actually see the true effect of what we're doing today.
That's true.
What we're doing today, it could reverberate throughout history, and someone will hear this message and they will rise up, and they could be the one that's going to be the domino that's going to knock it all down.
We need Morpheus, man. Where's the real Morpheus? All right.
Hey, Zach, have a good night, brother.
All right, man. Take care. 780.
Hey, Zach. Just wanted to give you a quick one, and I checked in your books and on your blog before I wanted to call in about this one. I saw it the other day, and maybe you know about this one, but do you know what the square root of 666 is?
The square root of 666?
Yeah.
What is it? I didn't know it has a square root.
25.8.
Yeah, well, okay. It's not a whole number. Okay.
Yeah, but that matches to the number of the beast is 258, right?
Oh, yeah. Wow. Wow, that's really interesting. Huh. Okay.
And it's like, okay, and you know that term, the root of all evil?
Uh-huh.
It's like that. So the square root of all evil is 225.8 or 258.
Huh. All right, so number of the beast is 258, and like Bill. So remember, vaccination, you guys, is 666. Bill Gates established his vaccine alliance on his 258th day of his age, and then his dad died on the 258th day of the year last year. Not to mention his name equals 258, William Henry Gates. But again, vaccination 666. So he's saying if you take the square root of 666, it gives you 25.8, which is a lot like number of the beast 258. That's really interesting. Well, what was and then how does the square, you're saying the root of all evil is 25.8?
Yeah, exactly.
Does the phrase equal 258?
It actually equals 78. It doesn't equal anything else.
Okay.
But, like Jesuits or whatever, it's 78.
And just so people can appreciate this, number of the beast, you see how it's 87? Bill Gates equals 87. He got his vaccine on his 87th day of his age. You see the 174 up there? The United Nations just unveiled a statue that looks like the beast described in Revelation on the 174th day of the Ignatian year, the first ever Jesuit year. And the number of the beast is 66 and the most pure, like how it's taught about in Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible, plus it's 666. Number of a man, number of a beast, man's made on the 6th day in the Bible. In Genesis, which equals 666. But, yeah, that's a really great observation. I did not know that. I'm going to have to double check the math on that. If that's true, I'm probably going to tuck that into the book because I talk about 2258 and how it's used with like the Gates example and a few other things. But wow, Interesting.
Oh, that'd be another one. That would be another one I gave you for your book.
Okay. What was the other one you gave me?
I gave the Christian Huygens.
Oh yeah, that was a huge one too. That definitely is in the book. Yeah, nice, man. Those are great contributions.
I got another one for that.
Okay.
To go along with that. Okay, so the Catholic Church, they didn't accept it as fact, the heliocentrism. Sorry, I can't pronounce it. Heliocentrism until this particular book, which was published by Johannes Kepler, was made. And the book, if you want to type it in, I'll spell it to you. It's called SIDE.
Hold on. What?
US.
Hold on. Can you do it like military style? S?
S like Sam, I like indigo, E like Dan, E like elephant, R, E like elephant, U like umbrella, S like Sam, N like Nancy, U like umbrella, N like Nancy, C like Charlie, I like indigo, U like umbrella, S like Sam, Siderius Nuncus.
Okay, I found it.
Okay, so now throw that in the Gematrinator. You can see the numbers, and then it was published by Johannes Kepler. The writer is Johannes Kepler. And then if you put that in Wiki, and then click to where it says controversy with the Catholic Church, it'll tell you that this book is what made them accept heliocentrism.
Wow.
Heliocentric system. Like they didn't consider it until this book was published. So this book equals 201 and 258, I think, too.
Good thing I decided not to submit the book today. I'm going to put that in there for sure, man. These are great finds. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, undeniable. Good one.
Yeah, Johannes Kepler and Albert Einstein, they have the same, like, they match. I don't know why, but they both are like big contributors to the heliocentrism. Heliocentrism.
Heliocentrism. Heliocentrism.
Heliocentrism. Yeah.
Boom.
So they both contributed like a lot to it. Yeah, and like I told you, I'm a flat earther, but that's why I know all this stuff, because I go up in all the debates and stuff, and we don't talk about gematria, but I know all the people's names, so I'm like Googling, I'm gematrinating all this stuff. That the root of all evil stuff is was I just saw randomly. I was like, wow, and I checked your books, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta tell you about that one.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
For you, so.
Good one.
Yeah.
Appreciate the research, man. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, take care. Yeah, if you guys don't know about all the 201s with heliocentrism and the Jesuits and the sun, and it's a big long list. So this is just one more thing. I'm going to read more about this. If everything he said checks out, it's definitely going in the book. So amazing. Hold on. 917? 917?
Yeah, hey man, I just wanted to raise two quick things to you.
Okay.
I was doing some research of it. I'm not sure if you touched on it before, but obviously people falsely celebrate the birth of Jesus on December 25th, which obviously that's nonsense. But I was doing some research, and it said that his actual birthday is believed to be 9/11, and that he was believed to, I think, have been born between, I think it was like 6 p.m. and like 8:03, something like that. Do you have any feedback on that? Have you ever heard that before? Like his actual birthday was
I mentioned in my first book, because September 11th is New Year's Day on the Christian Coptic calendar. So, and he has a summer birthday according to all the people who've really studied the Bible. So, but the winter birthday is the pagan birthday of the solar man. And what's funny is if you write out solar man, it equals 93, like Mithra, who's the old Roman sun god before Jesus, and the phrase God, Son, Crucifix, Nazareth, they're all 93. The first section of the Christian section of the Bible is the 930th chapter. In 2012, they said Jesus' crucifixion was the 93rd day of the year. All this stuff's in all of my books, but my newest book that I'm almost done with gets this whole point super clear. So 1225, the day we call Christmas, 1225 has a square root of 35. And the word eye equals 35, like Genesis 3:5 is about the eyes. And the eye of God to the occult is the sun. Just like when you close your eyes, you're in darkness. So when the sun's not in the sky, when God's eye is not in the sky, we're in darkness. The word eye is 35, Catholics 35, Holy See's 35. A lot of things related to the Catholic Church are 35. But that's what it's all about. The sun cult, the Catholic Church making everybody worship on Sunday, and the football. The football is the shape of an eye. The first ever Super Bowl was won with 35 points. And again, by a Jesuit, Vince Lombardi.
So let me ask you this, because I remember I've read both of your books, and I read the first 2 chapters that you put out yesterday. For people, because I got introduced to this because I like sports, but I always knew something was off about sports from a young age. I just couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I could just tell. Like, for instance, I remember watching the Lakers play the Celtics, and they lost. I think Ray Allen scored, he went off for a bunch of points. The Lakers lost by 39 to the Celtics in the 2008 finals, and then they played 2 more years later, and I said the series is definitely going to go 7 games, and the Lakers are going to come out on top. And that was before I even knew what Gematria was. I just knew that there was a certain element of rigging to the games. I just couldn't prove it. So for people that don't have this knowledge, what's the basic level of introduction you can give to them? I know you do the A is 1, B is 2, but just what is how do you have a conversation? Because people's minds aren't equipped to handle, hey, your sports and your elections are rigged. Once they
don't start there. Just show them how Gematria works. This is what I always start with whenever I show somebody brand new this. Here's what I show. I'm going to put down the phone for a second and just explain it. So, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I'm just going to explain it real quick. All right, so here's what I always explain. I always go to the most simple cipher, just the alphabetic order. Back in the day, I did this on pen and paper. But I always say, look at this. Do you think, does this look like a coincidence to you? There's this thing called Gematria. If you write out English, it's 74. If you write out Gematria, it's 74. If you write out Jewish, it's 74. And the reason these things matter is because Gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words. It comes from Jewish mysticism. It comes from the Hebrew language. I said, think about the odds of Gematria being about putting words together that have the same numerical value and have a meaningful relationship. So here you can say how English and Gematria would relate because it's about language, and it's a Jewish practice, so that would relate. Now, it's occult, meaning it's hidden. The word occult is 74. It's related to God, so what are the odds of this? Jesus equals 74, cross equals 74, Messiah equals 74, gospel equals 74. The story of the gospel is the story of Jesus, and Jesus speaks in parables, which is also 74. So when I first started, I was writing everything down in a notebook after I learned about this in Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages, and I just started to look into things that made sense. I said, man, look at all that. That is a really crazy coincidence, if that's a coincidence. And I was like, look at that. Even holiday is 74, which is like holy day, like how we have a holy day for Jesus. Most holidays are related to something religious or spiritual. And, and then I thought, man, this nation's birthday is 7-4. Well, Manly P. Hall, when I first started, the only other cipher I learned in there was the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. And if you write out Independence Day, it is 74. And it's like, come on, man. Independence Day is 74? So I started with that, and I said, there's obviously something to this. And the more I looked into it, the more stuff I found that lined up. And then I started to see if I could make correct predictions in sports and news. And I realized in record time I could. And I was like, holy shit, this is what they're doing. And I've been teaching about this ever since 2013. And again, I don't know why it's so hard for people to wrap their mind around it. This goes back to Hebrew, which is a language older than English. So it has a historical precedent. So it's something that exists in the world. It's existed for way longer than any of us have been around. It's important to secret societies. Well, if you study this nation's capital, it's named the Masonic City. By the way, in the most simple cipher, Masonic is 74. It was 3 years later I learned to run the alphabetic order in reverse, and then I realized George Washington was 74, and he ran it in reverse, so was Jesus Christ. And I said, okay, that's not an accident. And, the reverse cipher's been super helpful knowing that for the last, now it's been 5 years about. It was the end of 2016, so it's been 5 years that I've known reverse gematria now. But, for 8 years, I've been able to prove my point every single day, prove my point season after season, college, pro, more than just the American sports, international sports, tennis. it's the same. The rituals are undeniable, So I'd start there and then go ahead.
Even with the game last night, I know you're familiar with Itachi, but the Sixers were in New York last night playing the Brooklyn Nets, and he brought it to my attention that the Nets could pick up their 119th loss versus Sixers all time, which is obviously 119, which is 9-11 backwards, and Doc Rivers could pick up his 1,109th win all time, which is obviously 119, 9-11 backwards. And I noticed at the end of the game, the Sixers had 110 points and the Nets had 102 points, which equals 212 in the 212 area code. It is, I guess, even though curiosity killed the cat, I just wonder how do they script it to the T? Because I'm a huge WWE fan, and what I like about WWE is that they admit, hey, our product is predetermined. It's scripted. It's entertainment. So I have no problem with what they're doing because they're letting their audience know this is not real. These people don't hate each other. It's for your entertainment. Whereas, the Electoral College doesn't even hide it. They tell people the Electoral College selects the president. Presidents aren't elected. They're selected. I don't know how people still think voting actually matters in 2021. To me, it's a brain dead activity. But it's just one of those things where it's just how do they script everything and sync up everything in lockstep, so perfectly?
Well, computers, man. I think computers helped out a lot with it. And you look at just like at the football field. I mean, everybody's wearing headsets. Who knows who's really communicating with you? It can be like Tecmo Bowl out there. But again, computers, and the thing is, it's a network of. So think about this. Every day when you flip through all the TV channels, and who even has all the TV channels, there's all these different shows, cartoons, sitcoms, news programs, so much different programming. Think about all the writers out there. Think about all the employees just for that. So who's to say there's not a set of writers for these sports leagues? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just math. It's just math. It's basic math. It's not like we're doing calculus here. We're adding up letters as numbers. If we were taught this in grade school, you and I could have done this as first and second graders. Not as well as we can with our adult brain, but we'd still get the gist of it. So.
Right. It's very easy to follow, especially once you go down the rabbit hole. So I think I got introduced to your work about maybe 2 years ago with, I want to say, I forget which Super Bowl it was. It might have been the 49er, the Joe Montana Bowl. And then ever since then, I just became fully immersed. I started reading content. And it's I guess the pineal gland, once that's activated, you can't unsee. Even if you try not to see what's going on, your mind is going to process oh, wow, it's crazy. And it's almost like people, they're so brazen with it because they know most people are either going to engage in cognitive dissonance, where basically if you tell them, hey, this is what's happening, it's their mind is going to reject it because they can't quantify how it's happening. It's no way. That's not even, you sound like a conspiracy theorist, which obviously was a term created by the people in charge of creating said conspiracies. It's crazy, man. But yeah, I appreciate you for taking my call, man.
All right. Appreciate it. You have a good night.
All right, you too.
Okay, that clip I played at the beginning, here's what else we noticed. Once the games were actually played, we said, look at this. Auburn, which is in Alabama, beat Alabama State with 62 points, and Georgia equals 62, right? And then in the Alabama game, they won 48-14 over the school from Georgia, Mercer, 62 points. Again, Georgia equals 62, and Georgia won with 56 where Alabama's 56. So we said, man, it was already looking like it. We said, this looks like it's definitely the championship, and it is. 513.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Zachary, first of all, my name is Cortez Baker Smith. And I want you to. I got some. I invited some people on tonight. I want you to your best capability. I live in a pretty much a conservative Republican area, and I want you to get the people to wake up and realize. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, see, most of the people in my area, they think that Joe Biden is making decisions. They fail to realize that Joe Biden is nothing but a puppet on screens. And you have said it ever since Joe Biden was elected, and even beforehand, even before this election that took place now, the year before last year, I want you to your best capability, to your full capability, to get the people that I've invited on tonight, to get them to wake up and realize that Joe Biden absolutely has no power, that everything he's pretty much doing is pretty much premeditated. It's basically, it's like we have said countless times before, multiple times, that it's nothing but a script for filling out.
So here's what I would say to them to understand that just how it's no different from Biden to Trump. And the media is always trying to play you for a fool, telling you Biden's policies are causing all this inflation. Everybody should have known major inflation was coming based on how much money they printed for all the stimulus. That's what happens when you print money, major inflation, and we printed more money than we've ever printed before. They do this stuff to keep people in the political divide, and it's like everybody's using this false information from the Matrix. But listen. First, we'll start with Biden. When Biden became senator-elect in 1972, right after the election, his wife and daughter died in a car crash on Limestone Road. And that road name equals 201, like the Jesuit order, like Order of Illuminati. And when his son, Beau Biden, died at age 46, he died 201 days before Pope Francis's birthday, who again is the first Jesuit pope. His birth name is Jorge Mario Bergoglio, which equals 201, and he's the first ever pope to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. Again, he's Pope Francis. The Jesuits are from France. The last French pope was the 201st pope. The Jesuits were saved by Catherine the Great, who preserved the order with 201 Jesuits. These are big numbers with this gang. But Beau Biden dies 201 days before the Pope's birthday. And then the man who did the funeral for Beau Biden, who died at 46, is the same man who did the inauguration for Beau Biden when he became number 46. And he's the Jesuit priest who was the head of Jesuit Georgetown. And his name, Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, is 201. Now, while Biden was on his way to becoming number 46, Trump was having his RNC convention, and Cardinal Dolan, the Catholic cardinal from New York, blessed it on the 201st day of his age. And the last ceremony for Trump in 2016 that he did win, he had the Washington Nationals announcer Steve Ray be a big part of it. Go look at the Washington Nationals logo very carefully, and you'll see that W is a carefully crafted 201. Look at it. Look at the Washington Nationals W, the way it's made with the loop in the middle for the middle part. It's clearly 201 when you look at it. And don't forget, we called Nationals over Astros when Trump was president and why it would end in Game 7 before the postseason even began. A man turned a $10 bill into nearly $10,000 by parlaying that with a few other things because there were such monstrous odds on it. And again, 201, Trump's birthday is June 14th, which is the U.S. flag's birthday. When you count June 14th through the end of the year, that's 201 days, and he's Jesuit educated as well. And I mean, there's a lot more to it than that. The insurrection in D.C. supposedly caused by Trump, that was 201 days after the Confederate statue of Albert Pike fell in D.C., the only Confederate statue in the land, and the word Confederate equals 201. And the Confederate flag flew through D.C. at the supposed insurrection on January 6th or 6/1, like how the Civil War began in 1861. And if you go back and read what Lincoln said there would have never been a war without the Jesuits. And I forget what the name of the act is after the Civil War that made Washington, D.C. an independent city-state, what its official name is, but it happened in 1871. But if you look up that act, it equals 201. And the Jesuits have been using this number all throughout history to tear us apart. Here, remember what got the Albert Pike statue torn down? It was the George Floyd killing in Minneapolis on Memorial Day, which is related to war. And the thing was, his full name, George Perry Floyd, equals 201. He supposedly died exactly 201 weeks after Adama Traore died in Paris, France on the 201st day of the year, where the Jesuits are from. And over in Europe, that's how they were protesting over there. Adama Traore and George Floyd, protesting both their names together. And again, from the land of the Jesuits to 201 weeks later, they got the same kind of protest and division happening over here, and that's what the Jesuits are about. Order out of chaos, divide and conquer. This is how they rule over the people. They keep them fighting over nonsense like Republicans and Democrats and give us our rigged-ass ball games. That's why they say all roads lead to Rome, while there's Roman symbolism all over the nation's capital and Latin, the language of Rome, all over our dollar bills. And by the way, don't forget that all of this started, this movement against the Catholic Church with the 95 Theses. It was about breaking away from the Catholic Church overtaxing everyone. Well, think about how we all work the 9 to 5 now, and we pay taxes up the ass, and it all started with the Counter-Reformation, which equals 95, like the Bavarian Illuminati equals 95, which was founded by the Jesuit, who renamed it Order of Illuminati, which equals 201, and then he died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. I mean, this goes on forever, so if you can't see that the things I'm saying right now are beyond coincidence, then definitely do yourself the favor and read my new book when it comes out, because there's a million more examples on that, and it shows how this whole network of people we see on TV, by the way, the television was essentially invented by Jesuits. Again, the Jesuits are big on technology, information, government, education. They control the things that control our minds from a young age. So.
Yes, sir. That's right. That's correct. And also, I remember even the whole insurrection thing. I remember, I'll say for about 6 months, for about anywhere from 5 to 6 months, you even said that something big was going to happen on that exact day. You said something major was going to take place on January the 6th. You said it months out, even before the election, even before the election / AKA the selection.
Well, remember why that was? It's because they were doing all the Civil War stuff in the lead up to it. The autonomous zone in Seattle after the George Floyd thing, the Civil War statues, just all the Civil War stuff they were saying all over. So I was saying that would make sense right about that time. 6-1 like 61, like 1861. Because that's what they do. And that 61's a big number with them as well. I mean, it's a lot to explain, but yeah.
And I remember, I'm not really sure you got to be, sir, you have to be aware of this channel. His name is, the channel name is Industry Hoax.
Uh-huh.
Even he said that most of the people that took place in the insurrection were, like agents, agents.
Well, look at all the arrests, even in the mainstream. Everybody who's been arrested has pretty much been either police or military. I mean, what does that tell you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everybody pretty much it's what they call it. They call it it's on my tongue. I guess what they call it. What do they call it? It's I can think of. Hold on. It's on my tongue. I just can't say it. Goodness gracious. What do they call those people? The same people that took part in the fake Boston bombing.
Oh, like crisis actors?
Yeah, yes, sir. That's right. Couldn't think of the term for nothing. Yes, sir.
Yeah, a lot of that. So, and again, if you guys think about this, all year they've continued to roll out new footage from the January 6th insurrection. It's like 10 months later, it's like, okay, new footage 10 months later? Like, where's this been the whole time? You guys are talking about this all day, every day. You didn't have this footage, this exciting footage to show months ago? Well, Netflix just put out their new special called Death to 2021, and in the beginning of it, they've changed the footage there. They've edited in a comedian, but if you are watching this, you would think she was actually there because it looks so good. The editing, it's perfect. It looks like she's right there with everybody. And it's like, well, think about that. They're doing that in a comedy special. Who's to say that all year they haven't been making new news with new dramatic scenes to keep you so invested in this divisive moment that they cooked up for us? I mean, you see that the technology's there to fool you. You don't know if she's really there or not. You know she's really not there because it's a comedy special, but if they were showing that as a news segment, that she was like, look at this latest footage of this mega protester writing her name in feces on the wall, you would think that was real, but it's a joke because it's the comedy special. So, and again, it was like a year and a half ago that CNN on their front page had up that website, thispersondoesnotexist.com, that generates instantly someone that looks like a real person, but it's not. I mean, that's the age we live in right now.
Yes, sir. That's correct. Yes, sir. totally correct.
Well, anyway, I hope your people out there are getting it, man. So, I mean, that's about the best I can explain it for right now.
I've been trying to get them to, to see, to open their eyes up and to make them, to be able to be, able to process this information, because all I've been hearing ever since Joe Biden got sworn in is Joe Biden's doing this, Joe Biden's doing that, Joe Biden's doing this. I live around a bunch of Trump supporters, and I've been trying to get them to see that Joe Biden don't have he has absolutely no power at all. He is just a figurehead to get people distracted off the people who's really running the show. Just to get people in mind off to see. Everybody in my area, in my neighborhood, has been so focused on Joe Biden that they have pretty much lost touch to who's really running the show. Joe Biden's doing this, Joe Biden's doing this, Joe Biden's doing that. That's all I've been hearing ever since the inauguration. That's all I've been hearing.
Because that's why I do what I do, man. Everybody's caught up in the lie. Everyone believes in the lies. Everyone's letting the TV do the thinking for them, and they don't see how we're all getting drugged to the bottom, man. I mean, that's what I've been worried about the whole time, just how people can't see through the propaganda, and they can't see that there's a massive agenda being waged against us to put us in a worse world, more of a police surveillance state. And again, man, people keep falling for the party politics and all the distractions. It's just a big joke on us, man. And let's not forget, Joe Biden carried Georgia, which was the surprise of the election, but was something we predicted. We said why Georgia would go for him and, why he'd win the election months before it happened. So Jimmy Carter will probably be the next to go now that I think about it with all this focus on Georgia. Jimmy Carter's getting pretty old. So.
And even also the two senators that won, that took office, the two senators that won or look after in the what they call it, the re-election. When the election was so close, well, not the election, but the selection was so close the first time. The runoff when the two senators had won, there's no way. See, I have family members in Georgia, and they all think. They all want to see. Mostly they are all Democrats, and they think they actually played a role and played a part in electing the two senators that had won.
That's why people got to wake up, man, because they're not playing any part. They're not playing any part at all. So.
They were celebrating, and they actually thought that they had something to do with the two senators winning in Georgia. I said, no, it ain't no. There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah, I know, man. People are believing in the lies a lot. So, all right, man. Well, I appreciate the call.
And Mr. Zach, I have one more thing. I've been doing some research, and I think even you have touched on it a few times as well. You said that actually, I have two more things. How long do you think that Joe Biden has in office before Kamala Harris takes the ranking?
Have you seen the Gerald Ford thing?
No, sir.
You don't know about what Gerald Ford said in 1989? Watch this. I'm gonna play. Everybody, pay attention to what I'm about to play. You're gonna love this. Hold on. Let me get this. Everybody's got to know about this. Hold up. I got to find this video. You guys got to see this. It'll blow your mind about what Gerald Ford said about the first female president. He had the most specific prediction a person has ever had in the history of the world about how we're going to get the first female president. I got to show this, man.
Yes, sir.
It's a very high honor, very great privilege for me to come to West Branch and to participate in this conference, which is being held here at the Hoover facilities.
Mr. Ford, what advice would you give a young lady wanting to become President of the United States?
Well, I hope we do have a young lady at some point become President of the United States. I can tell you how I think it will happen, because it won't happen in the normal course of events. Either the Republican or Democrat political party will nominate a man for president and a woman for vice president. and the woman and man will win. So you'll end up with a president, a male, and a vice president, a female. And in that term of office of the president will die. And the woman will become president under the law or constitution. And once that barrier is broken, from then on, men better be careful, because they'll have a hard time ever even getting a nomination in the future. But that's the way it's going to happen, and I think it'll probably come sometime in the next 4 or 8 years.
Okay, so Herbert, a little girl asked him, how's the first female president going to happen? And he says it's going to be, the man-woman combo, and the man's going to die, and the woman's going to become president. And he said he was in Herbert Hoover building before he answered the question. Check this out. Herbert Hoover died the exact day that Kamala Harris was born. Herbert Hoover died October 20th, 1964, right? That is the exact day Kamala Harris was born. The exact same day, the day he died. So he said that in the Herbert Hoover building about this very specific thing. Now, for people who haven't been following me, the week Biden became president, there's a lot of people who think Biden's going to die this year in my community because Kamala Harris has this 2-2-2 connection, but I'm sticking with my original prediction. I think he's going to die June 1st, 2024, and that's the day Kamala becomes president. The reason I predicted it's that day is because that's 1,229 days after they took office, the 201st prime, and his son was sacrificed in a big 201 ritual. But it doesn't mean that that's going to be right. Maybe he will kick the bucket this year. But, man, the fact that he said that in the Herbert Hoover building and Herbert Hoover died the same day. This is like the Joe Burrow thing. Joe Burrow goes to LSU, and the same day that he goes there, the only Heisman winner ever for LSU dies the same day, and he also won the championship over Clemson in New Orleans, exactly like Joe Burrow did. What was crazy is I went down to the LSU campus and talked to people. Some people thought that was a coincidence, and I was like, come on, how improbable is this, man? But a lot of people realized it was not a coincidence. So, anyway.
So that was almost like he telling you, almost like he giving you a spoiler. He was so blatant while saying that. He was almost like he was too honest. He's basically telling you the script out in broad he's giving, laying out the script. I have never seen it. I have never seen it. Never saw that before. Never seen.
Isn't it crazy, though? It's just like a ridiculous thing to even say. It's like, that's how you know how scripted this shit is, and these guys are all in the club. So somewhere along the way, there's been a clue hinted about how because they probably talk about it. When are we finally going to get a woman here in this office like the UK did with Margaret Thatcher? And that was right after Margaret Thatcher in the UK, where the Jesuit logo's above the door. What else is messed up, man, is Herbert Hoover. There's a lot to it. He went to University of Michigan. So, and Michigan's been a big focus right now, so we'll see what happens, man. And I'm seeing Jimmy Carter's 97, the 25th prime, and the college championships on his 102nd day of his age, like it's the 102nd NFL season right now. So I'm thinking Jimmy Carter, he might maybe live 50 days past the championship because Alabama's 50. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy Carter dies 152 days after his birthday with Georgia being in the championship. Joe Biden equals 152. That could be exactly it. Here, I'm going to put this prediction out right now. Let me figure out what 50 days is after the championship. I'm going to say Jimmy Carter's going to be dead in the headlines that day. Let me think about this. What day is this? Hold on. It's March 1st is his 152nd day of his age. March 2nd is 152 days after his birthday. Let me think about that real quick. 5. Man, that's a date with 40. I'm going to go with that date right there. I'm going with that. Jimmy Carter. R.I.P. to Jimmy Carter. He's probably already dead like John Madden, man. I think they killed these guys a long time ago, and they're just going to report him dead like Betty White whenever they want to. But, yeah, 152 days after his birthday, they're doing all sorts of 152 shit right now, so that would not surprise me at all.
I seen something, and it's so crazy about this Betty White. I seen something on about 2 weeks ago. It might have been right at 2 weeks ago, and it might have been less than 2 weeks ago. I seen something on the news, and it said, now that I had the news on, it just so happened to pop up on my phone, and I'm not really sure what it said word for word, but it said something like, "Can Betty White reach the age of what are the odds that Betty White reaches the age of 100?"
Well, if you missed my video, you guys, I did a video on Betty White's death today on GematriaEffectNews 24 where I cover all the news stuff. Her name equals New Year's Eve. Golden Girls equals New Year's Eve. That's what she's known for. All this shit is perfect ritual. 2 days ago, she had an international headline about what she ate to live so long, like she was a healthy person just 2 days ago. Then 2 days later, she's dead. It's like, come on, man. They just did a story with how she's surviving so long. Now she's dead. Come on, man.
Yeah, I seen it also. I said, hold up. This woman, I said, when I seen that article, well, not really an article, but when they said what are the odds, I said, this woman is definitely going to die before. She's definitely going to die sometime pretty soon. And I was right. I was right in my prediction. I said, this woman is going to die by the numbers. I said, I don't really know when she's going to die, but I said to myself, when I seen it in the on my phone, when it came across my phone, I said, this woman is going to die.
That's how they do it, man. There's always celebrity deaths on New Year's Eve and New Year's. Watch, there'll be more tomorrow. It's sad, man. Every year on New Year's Eve and New Year's, they got deaths. But, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. All right, man. I got to let some other people get in here, though. I do appreciate the call.
Sir, I appreciate it. I thank you so much. Much love to you, sir.
Hey, look at that. The call is 22 minutes long. That's perfect for 2022. And it was a good call because you brought up a lot of good thoughts. Thank you.
Yes,
All right. Yeah, have a good night, man.
Much love.
See you. I swear to God, you guys, I just hung up at 22:22, man. That's funny. I think he's on the East Coast. I'm not in 2022 yet, but I think he was. So, funny, man. Okay. Do we got any more calls? Oh, yeah, we do. 765. It's like a countdown. 765. It's almost the new year. What's up?
Yeah, hi. So, I had a decode about the OSU versus the Utah Utes, the Rose Bowl for the year.
Okay.
Yeah, so the coach Ryan Day, he's 42 years old, and they put up a 56-7 game on the same day in which Georgia put up a 56-7 game, 42 days before the Rose Bowl. He can become 2-2 in the bowl games all time on the 253rd day of his age, 42, the 22nd triangular number. He has a birth numerology of 113. He faces a team from Utah. Utah Jazz is equal to 113. Ohio State can become 9-7 in Rose Bowl all time against the Utah Utes. And Utah Utes equals 25 in the full reduction cipher. So there's like many other parallels and many other gaps and stuff like that. But I feel that this is like the most like direct way of approaching it.
Just about the Utah Utes, remember, they just beat Oregon 10-38, and then Utah State beat Oregon State in their bowl game. But remember, the player who died for Utah, he died reportedly, he was killed by a gunshot at 10:38. That's the way they reported it when he died. He died at 10:38, and of course, death's 38 and Oregon's 38, and then they beat Oregon 10-38. It's like, come on.
So this is the thing. So the 42-year-old, like, and also we saw that today in the bowl games, actually, I noticed something. Just give me a second. Yeah, so if you see the games of today, we had the first game with 33 points, the next with 45 points, the number 78. So this is the number which I have been covering extensively on F2FT a lot. So if you see, that is the jersey number of Ryan Kelly, the Kobe Bryant ritual, the jersey change, and like I'm seeing this number 78 a lot when it comes to all the decodes which I'm doing. So it's all connected to the Madden and like the Super Bowl 57 kind of thing. So I was looking into that. So like, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, it's all interesting. I'm not good at listening. Or a visual helps me out. I'm more of a visual person, but I'm hearing a lot of the connections. But yeah, to make a call on it, I have to look at it a little bit more. So just keep doing your thing, man, and taking your
Yeah,
notes. You'll learn in
actually,
time like I did.
yeah. Yeah, sure. You can actually take a look at some things which I'm posting on FTFT, so you can actually take a look at it. So
Okay.
it's GOMC, yeah.
Okay.
So you can just take a look at I did a lot of things today, so you can look at some of the things and
Well, just a
see if
reminder, a lot of
anything
the
makes
times
sense.
stuff is just the most simple. Like going back to week 2 of this season, we really liked Oregon to upset Ohio State, and they were a 13.5-point dog in that game. And the reason why is because Ohio State could fall to 9-1 at home all-time versus Oregon, and Buckeyes is 91, where 91's the 13th triangular number, and Ducks is 13. And Oregon did upset Ohio State that week. And again, it's just like, Georgia's 62 in the most simple cipher. We said it looked like it was going to be Georgia, Alabama. We'd look for the clues. We got some huge 62 clues that weekend. So, again, a lot of times it's just the most surface level thing. Sometimes you dig too deep, you get lost in the numbers. So just remember that. When you're looking at your numbers, a lot of times it is the most surface level stuff.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thanks a lot.
All right, yeah, you have a good night. But yeah, again, you guys, from what we talked about at the beginning, the prediction, what ended up happening in those games, again, Alabama beat the Georgia school 48-14, 62 points. Georgia equals 62. Georgia won with 56, Alabama 56. Saban got his 263rd win, the 56 prime. And then the all Alabama game that day also had 62 points. And we said, man, that's a huge sign right there for Alabama, Georgia again. 404. 404, you're on, Atlanta.
Is that me?
Yeah, what's up?
Okay. Hey, listen. I wasn't expecting to reach you, so I was sort of caught off guard. It's pretty funny because I came on here briefly. I saw you live. So I jumped on. I said, this is a guy I've been wanting to talk to for a long time, but I'm not the type of person to come on live or allow my voice to be heard. So I want to talk to you briefly. But anyway, man, Kobe Bryant died last year. When he died, you put out a video. That video caught my attention. When that video caught my attention, it changed my life. I've listened to you a few times since then. But what I want to do is share with you, what you're actually witnessing. I know that you have obviously you're the best, when it comes to this stuff. But at the same time, I realize that you're sort of not too sure about how these people are doing what they're doing. I believe that for the most part, you use the word rituals a lot. And so you feel that there's a lot of rituals going on by powerful men behind closed doors, etc. And what I want to do is share with you exactly how it works, right? Like, how is everything so precise all the time? Why does it never, ever miss a beat? And there's only one person in the world who can show you that, and that's me. I'd rather not do it on this call. I'd rather have a time to talk to you privately. You listen to what I have to share with you, and then you decide whether you want to share with your community or not. But me and you are connected, which I'll share with you privately too. But this is pretty interesting how me and you are connected, right? I don't know how, if you believe in multiple lives, like we have a soul and we live multiple times, etc.
I think it is something like that, honestly. I think it is something like that. That makes the most sense to me. If energy's never destroyed, maybe when we go, then somehow we come back, we return in another living thing. I mean, to me that makes sense. So.
Exactly. So we have a soul and a spirit, right? Our soul is what causes us to live many lives. We live many different lives in different spirits. So each spirit means we have a different name, different persona, different parents. But we all, we die, we come back, same soul, just different name, different parents, different everything. In my past life, my last name was Hubbard, like how your last name is Hubbard now. And I think you're 37 right now, correct? Or 38?
I'm 38 right now.
Okay, you're 38, but your birthday numerology is 37, right?
Correct.
So I can't remember. I think right. So now my numerology.
Or no, I'm tripping, man. No. I just told you something else. Zachary equals 37 in the most pure cipher, the one you're supposed to use for your name. My birth numerology is 31 and 4, but Zachary's 37. That's what the 37 is.
Okay, but your birthday is what?
July 21st, 1983.
Yes, that's a 7-3 numerology. 7337, same thing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the 21 becomes 3. I got you.
Yeah. So my B-Day adds up to 37. So I was born, well, I don't want to say that here, but I was born September 13, and based on the year I was born, it adds up to 37. Anyway, me and you are connected, which is why I was able to learn from you, because we were scripted. Our lives were connected. Our lives are scripted, right? Now, so you've written 2 books so far. I haven't had the luxury of reading those books yet, but here's what I can tell you just to give you a sense of how I think. So you wrote 2 books. I know you talk a lot about, like, for example, the Holy Bible. And when you talk about the Bible, you talk about how certain verses add up to a certain amount of words, right? And you say there's no way that could be a coincidence that this scripture, this verse, this chapter, that the numbers add up so perfectly, right? So here's what I would tell you. You wrote 2 books. I don't know how many chapters each one of your books have, but just like you had a caller, and this caller had a great conversation with you, and then at the end of the conversation, you realized that the call was 22 minutes, just as we came into the year 2022. What you'll find is even the book that you wrote, the chapters that are in that book, no matter how many times you edited that book, you could have edited a book 1,000 times. The final publications you put out, however many chapters in that book, there's nothing you could have done, no matter what you think in your mind, there's nothing you could have done to make those chapters anything different than what it was. So let's say there's 40 chapters. That's what it was going to be. Before you were born, it was written in your script. Your script is a part of your DNA. It was written that you would write a book, you'd release it on X date, and then have X amount of chapters in it. And each one of those chapters would have X amount of words. It doesn't matter how many times you edit it. It doesn't matter if you passed it on to someone else to edit it. They sent it back to you, went back and forth, blah, 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 blah. What you're really seeing is you're seeing how the matrix works, okay? You're seeing this code that was created by God himself, this code that runs everything. So, for example, the Matrix just came out with I think it's their final installment, the Matrix Resurrections or whatever. But going back, I can't remember which Matrix.
All right, hold on though. Hold on. I gotta ask a question because I agree with a big chunk of what you're saying, but I just gotta ask one question to see if we're on the same page. Okay, so like, it's 41 date numerology and it's the end of the game and the team's on 34 points. And then they get an 80-yard touchdown to hit the 41st points when before the game we spotted that it was going to be all about 41 on the 41 date numerology. And the only reason they got that touchdown is because it looked like, they just left open that whole section of the field. Are you saying that you think it was fate that got that game to 41 points? Or is it because that actually was the scripted ritual, just like Vegas knows for the way they set the lines? Are you saying that like Vegas understands the fate and destiny and this is the way it's playing out? Or are things being manipulated in things like sports games, essentially playing with the organic code?
Yeah, so here's what I'm saying. You know more than the Jesuits. You. In fact, they probably listen to you and learn from you. Because what you're doing is it is rigged, as you would say. And this is what I would rather share with you personally so you could decide whether you want to share with your people. I don't want to be the first to say this in front of your crowd because it's your crowd. But from what I've learned is that it is rigged, but not in the way that you feel it is. Meaning, before any one of us are born, like for example Tom Brady, it's rigged for Tom Brady because Tom Brady is in his code. He was scripted to win X amount of championships by X time on X date. Like all of it is part of it. All right. So for example.
So, but here's my thing about that. So, look, I got to tell people because, so for people who think he's all wrong, I know he's not all wrong because here's a real thing about me. I'd been doing this when I was down at LSU, educating down there about all the people that died in that community in connection to that championship. And what this man's saying, it sounds like, is he thinks that was just the way it was going to be. Like, it was all going to be that way. Joe Burrow was going to go that day. He was going to die. See, to me, it feels like I know there's an organic side because here's the weird thing. When I was in Louisiana, when I was down there in New Orleans, I was in hotel room number 201 and I got freaked out because somebody started blowing up my phone with text messages whose number I didn't have, and he was telling me I needed to research event 201. And this started right after I checked into hotel room number 201. And I was like, what the fuck, man? People were saying not to go down there, like some bad shit's gonna happen. I didn't live in fear. I still went out and did my thing every day, but it was so weird that somebody's blowing me up about the number 201 as soon as I check into hotel room number 201. But it turned out that I really needed to look into that and do more research on that number because then it helped me connect the biggest dots that I've been missing the whole time. So, I mean, it seemed organic. I mean, unless somebody really was watching me, they're like, this is the, like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to think it was that conspiratorial. Like, I don't think anybody put me in the room 201 like some conspiratorial manner. It felt like it kind of just happened that way. And I've seen some other organic stuff besides that in the time I've been doing this. But at the same time, it's like, listen, man, I mean, Tom Brady, Tom Brady's whole career is crossing routes. We're talking about a guy that's had a middle-aged dad's body his whole career. They like to show that off, like Tom Brady on the beach with his gut and his I mean, for the NFL, he probably has the worst body in the history of the NFL. And, I mean, this is the most winning guy of all time. This guy that's hardly athletic, that just somehow all day, his receivers are wide open. Everybody's playing with these monster cushions. I mean, it doesn't, like when the Lions won their game this year, the entire Vikings defense was playing prevent in the back of the end zone and left the whole end zone open. That didn't feel like the Matrix or organic to me. That felt like scripted, to ensure the outcome.
Well, so in the scripted world, and I think with you, because every time I listen to you, you seem to have a respect for astrology, but it doesn't seem as if you've gone deep into that yet.
It's because I need to. I spend so much time on my own work, but you're right. I do respect it, and I knew if I knew more, it'd be helpful. It's just like I'm always doing my thing, and I don't have enough time to study, so.
Right. And that's when you'll be able to put more pieces together when you realize that everything that happens in this earth happens in the heavens first, okay? And so what you'll see is, for example, like some of the numbers that you point out in sports are the same numbers that are, let's say you point out some numbers in sports today. These are the same numbers that's running through the lottery, same number that's running through the stocks, same number that's running through coronavirus deaths. You realize all these numbers are doing the same thing, right? Because, so for example, if you look at a TV or you look at a TV or computer, you can see people on your TV, but those people are still nothing but numbers, right? Like you can't actually go touch people through your TV screen. Well, same thing with us. We're made out of numbers, but the illusion is that we're humans, that we have flesh, but truly all we are numbers. So what you're seeing is you're seeing into the code. Now, you're a person who likes visual and all that kind of stuff, so I can actually show you everything. Like, I can break everything down to you, to where me and you would be on the same page. Because me and you are connected spiritually, okay? We're connected through the numbers. So even, for example, what's so funny is I see you going outside with your, with your megaphone and talking to, people concerning event 201, etc. So what's so funny is even in my life, especially 2018, 19, 20, my script had me outside doing something similar, more so for business purposes, blah, blah, blah. But it's so funny how the stuff that you do, like I said, I had the same last name as you in my previous life. And I'll even let you know who I was in my previous life. It's so hilarious. But even all that, you can see through the stars, astrology, all that kind of stuff, right? It's all of this is a perfect script. Now, when you're looking at these games, what's happening is we have a soul, we have a spirit. Our spirit is the robot part of us. Okay, it is it's the part of us that feels real, the part of us that makes us feel like we have free will, that we have choice, all that kind of stuff. But really, the only part of us that's real is our soul. And our soul is assigned to a robot to gain, and not really a robot, but meaning a character that life is predetermined, right? So, for example, if you remember from The Matrix, there's a scene where the guy Neo knocks over the vase. And the Oracle says to him, or asks him a question, would that vase have fallen anyway? Do you have an opinion on that? Like, would that vase have fallen anyway? Do you have an opinion? I don't know if you remember that scene.
I go back and watch the scene, but I hear the point you're making, just like some things are destined to happen no matter what.
All things. There's nothing that happens in this physical world.
Okay, here's what I got to ask then. Okay, so this whole coronavirus thing we're living out, you know, the Event 201 simulation, then 56 days later, the first coronavirus, then it supposedly comes out of the lab established in 1956 with connections to France where the Jesuits are from. And again, the Jesuits are all about this 56. You got Gavin Newsom saying, I'm locking down California because in 8 weeks, 56% of the state's going to have coronavirus. Then Boris Johnson, under the Jesuit logo, saying he's got the 56% more infectious UK strain. And as we know, coronavirus is 56, COVID vaccines 56. They're doing stuff with this number all over the world as they tell people about coronavirus. So are you saying this is like somehow like the Jesuits were just going to do this and they're just using this number because it's like it's vibing with the Matrix? I mean, to me, it feels like it's so contrived, and it's like they're programming the populace, like the same way you make computer code out of numbers. So,
yeah. So if we just look at everything from the earthly realm through the numbers, then what we'll see is the Jesuits, right? Okay, but who created the Jesuits? Meaning, the Jesuits created the alphabet and numbers and all that kind of stuff, right? Okay, but somebody put that in their minds, in their head. They're following a code and not knowing they're following a code.
Here's how I could see this being possible. I hear this. This could make sense. I mean, if this is how it is, this could make sense. Like, it's like if you choose to access evil, and let's say that's what the Catholic Church is. They've figured out the powerful spiritual evil knowledge that gives them what they want, but everybody else suffers for it. And what they're essentially doing is channeling the devil, if you will. And then just because they're fulfilling this plan, you know, it just manifests this way. I mean, maybe. I mean, that's harder for me to explain. It'd be a lot harder to win anybody over with this information explaining that way, but I'd say, okay, that could be possible if it's something like that. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, well, me and you, we have to go real deep. Like, we have to go much deeper than this for you to fully understand. Like, you need to understand what life and death is, what happens after death, what happens before life begins, all that kind of stuff. Right?
Okay, so somehow you have this knowledge because you remember your So you're saying you have this knowledge because you remember a previous life?
No, I have this knowledge. So, and I can speak more freely if we're talking privately. But let me just say this, okay? Like I said, when Kobe Bryant died, that caught my attention. A video of yours, I saw it, and I said, wow, you know, I'm a numbers guy, so when I saw all these, and you had a longer clip, but I looked at the short clip, I think it was like 6 minutes long, and I looked at it, I saw too many, let's say, coincidences for it to be coincidences. So that caught my attention. But then from there, something started happening in my life where I realized, oh, I'm being contacted by higher forces. So have you ever heard of angel numbers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Angel numbers. Okay. So what I started realizing is who's actually in control of these numbers. Okay. And that whole supernatural part, I'll have to talk to you privately. But I start realizing that it's not the human beings that created the numbers. The humans might think they did. Even the Jesuits, they might think they did. The Catholics, whoever, they might think they created these numbers. But these are God's numbers. Right? This is God's code that we're looking at. Now, for it to make sense, you have to know the end. And I think that's what you might not know is the end. Like when I listen to you, I come and listen, like I might listen to you once or twice a month. But when I come to listen to you, I'm more so concerned about what numbers are hitting right now. Like I can go look at the stock market and see what numbers are hitting right now. I can go look at the lottery and see what numbers are hitting right now. I can listen to you and listen to what numbers are hitting right now. I could turn on the news and see what numbers are hitting right now. Now, why is that important? Because what you're witnessing is, and this goes into, I don't want to get religious because I'm more spiritual than I am religious. Okay, but what you're really witnessing, even with these games, like you're witnessing the secret to understanding the end of the age, the end of the most recent age. Obviously, we just enter into the age of Aquarius. Now, I'm not sure how far you get into like the different prophecies as relates to the different ages. And I don't want to get into the religious part of it because the religious part of it, then we're talking about things that not everyone can relate to. But even yourself, I don't think you're a religious person, but I do think that I guess are you a spiritual? Would you call yourself spiritual? Or?
That's how I describe myself, spiritual. I believe there's a creator. I believe you're supposed to live by the golden rule. I just keep it simple. So.
Okay. Well, every prophecy, whether you take a religious prophecy, a spiritual prophecy, every prophecy has an end of the age prophecy about some kind of being arriving on this earth. Now, the same numbers for the Jesuits and all that kind of stuff is the same numbers for Messiah, same number for Christ, same number for, and I think, you know that better than anybody. It's all the same numbers, right? But I think you're more so focused on the Jesuit side rather than the spiritual side, which are the God numbers, like 74, 47, same thing. 34, 43, same thing. 16, 61, same thing. 53, 35, same thing, blah, blah, blah. Anything that you're seeing on this earth is what's happening in the heavens. What you're really witnessing is what frequency is dominant in the heavens right now. And what you're also noticing is the coming of the Messiah figure, whether it be the religious perspective, spiritual perspective, it doesn't matter. All roads lead back to the same figure, the same creator, Now, the reason why you see all this chaos, coronavirus, all that kind of stuff is because in order for there to be a savior, there needs to be chaos. So what the creators, meaning the gods of this world, what they put into the script was for there to be, at this time, 2020, 2021, 2020 being the year of perfect vision, the start of the decade of the perfect vision, and then going into 2021, and now we're in 2022. What you're realizing is the climax of the chaos. Okay, so the climax of the chaos is also the time of the arrival of the Messiah figure. So what you're seeing, even when you see Tom Brady winning and all that kind of stuff, it's not so much about Tom Brady. It's about what numbers are winning. The numbers that are winning is showing you the frequency, the current frequency in the heavens. If you notice the frequency that's in the heavens right now, all it's saying is the arrival of the King, the arrival of the Messiah. So when I say, for example, you are a character in a script just like I am, I want to even show you why it is that your script has you doing everything that you're doing, because you're a bigger character than you even realize. And that's why you have the God numbers. I don't know if you know this, but you have the God numbers. There's no coincidence that you're 38 right now. There's no coincidence that your birthday is a 370. There's no coincidence that you was in that hotel 201. It's funny because I had a video of myself being in a hotel 201, And I was like, damn, well, I know these Jesuits don't know me. And it's so funny how all the numbers that reveal itself in my life are the same numbers that are connected, the same numbers that you talk about, right? And it's not just me, but even you. Now, if we go through your books together and all that kind of stuff, the amount of chapters, the amount of words, all that will magically add up. The same way when you're looking at these games and they're magically winning, the way that you see that they're going to win is because you're seeing the master code. Now, it was put into your script to understand the master code, and the universe has been helping you understand the master code so that you can put it out for the people that have been listening to you. Anyway, but you have to understand, to fully understand, you have to know what's the end. The end is the arrival of the Messiah figure, which you're doing better than anyone else, which you just might not know at the time. It is you're predicting the arrival of the Messiah figure. You see how crazy this world is. That's because you know this because every time you're talking to people, you see that people don't get it. They don't understand. That's because they're programmed to not understand right now. They're robots. They are the zombies. Technically, we're all zombies. You're a zombie. I'm a zombie. There's just different levels to zombies. There's people who are far more asleep than others. But we're all still slightly asleep until the arrival of the God who takes a human form. And this hasn't occurred yet, but this is occurring now. And this is why you're doing the work that you're doing. This is why the world is so crazy right now. This is why COVID, every time they think they have a solution for COVID, what happens? A whole new, more powerful variant comes about, right? And we think it's these people, and that's cool and all that's great, but the reality is nothing in this world happens by accident. And just talking to you, I don't think you'll be able to fully understand. But if we go deep, and I can show you things, like I can take you deep. I can take you real deep. And
well, here, I took a screenshot of your phone number, so I'll definitely call you back because I'm interested in everything you're saying. I mean, there's a lot of people that have been telling me similar things to what you're saying. So, I mean, right now I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but there's a big part of me that's like, ugh. But to me, it feels like there's a group that's laughing in our face and mocking us. And again, I just look at all the secret societies and, all the power players from these secret societies. And, I mean, you look from the Oval Office to the football field, they're syncing up the rituals. And it seems like they're kind of snickering at everybody. And I don't feel like that's just the Matrix pushing it. I feel like it's them with their insider knowledge kind of, putting it in our face, what we're not supposed to see. But I could be wrong. I'm open to it.
They know how to make money from it.
So, anyway, other people want to get on, but
They know how to make money from it like you.
Here, you know what? You even went beyond 22 minutes. Man, I didn't realize you've been on the phone for that long. It was 26 minutes. That's the God number, and you're saying pretty much, this is God at the end of the day. So we'll leave it there, and I will call you back, and I do appreciate the thoughts. Thank you.
Hey, it's been a pleasure.
All right. Yeah, you have a good night. Take care. Okay. Wow, that was a long call, man. But I took one of those gummies. It's been kicking in more and more as I've been doing this show, so time just melted by, I guess. I didn't realize it was so long. 502. What's up, 502?
How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Thank God. So, can you hear me?
I hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so, calling in from the East Coast, Virginia. Last guy that just called in, he's actually making a lot of sense. I get what he's saying. I just wanted to call in really quick just to tell you something really fast. So, I play color sports, actually, and at a high level. And the crazy thing that got me, a lot of these guys, like, things go by the numbers, yada, yada. And when I picked my number, I told the coach I wanted to wear number 10. And I did this through cell phone because I wasn't on the actual campus yet. He texted me back like 5 minutes later, and he's like, how about number 0? Number 0, and I don't think that adds up to anything, does it? Like, there's no numbers behind that or anything?
Well, zero. I'd definitely be rather zero than like 38 or 44 or something. But yeah, I wouldn't really know what to say about zero. So
Yeah, zero, nothing comes after that. So the entire season, I just ride the bench. So that right there, it was just something I wanted to put in. So there are numbers and things that are going on with the players, and I really don't know, but I just had number zero, and I didn't get any playing time. So just wanted to tell you that.
okay, interesting. All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, no problem.
All right, yeah, take care. And I mean, just the other thing I'm having trouble believing all this is so organic is just the way, I mean, it's just like 2 days ago, the international story about Betty White and how she's lived to be so long eating this junk food diet, and then 2 days later, she's dead. It's like, come on, man. They're like, oh, she's almost to 100, and then she's dead 2 days later. It's just, Scottie Pippen of the Bulls, his son dies on the first day of Taurus, the Bull, just stuff like this all the time. I mean, I'm having trouble accepting that this is organic. So it looks rigged to me. It feels rigged. It smells rigged. I know there's an organic side to it. I've talked about if you haven't read my books, both books, I end with the organic side of the code. Just to remind people that, yeah, sometimes there's some things that it's not like a conspiracy or manipulated. There's something going on with numbers. Like, that's why these secret societies, they say all is number. They got that Pythagoras quote all over. But you just look at these football games and, I mean... Yeah, I mean, come on, man. You think it was the organic matrix that made the Atlanta Falcons forget how to play football as Tom Brady gets a scripted Super Bowl win? The Seattle Seahawks forget to hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch and throw the interception on the 21st pass to number 21 on 2/1 on the down 2nd and 1? I can't accept that this is organic. This stuff seems so rigged to me. Tom Brady, 9/11 Patriot Act, all this stuff. It's just like, come on, man. 510?
Hey, what's up, Zach? This is Bamboo. Wanted to give you a shout out. Keep up the good work. You've taught me a lot, and I've only been following you for like a short time, maybe like a year or so. I wanted to say one thing about and Happy New Year to everybody too. But I wanted to say something about the fire that happened yesterday. It coincidences, but it was on the anniversary of one of the biggest fires in American history, and it's called the Iroquois Theater Fire, also known as the Great Chicago Fire, or the Great Chicago Theater Disaster. And looking up just some of the basic numbers, I mean, I'm still learning a lot, but I was looking like it syncs up if you touch out the Great Chicago Theater Disaster, 175, Boulder County, 175, and then I looked into the owners of that theater when they opened it up. And if you looked into that story, it totally was preventable. This horrible disaster. 602 people or so, they say, died. And it could have been prevented. But the owners, 176, well, one of the owners was Harry J. Powers. He's got a 176, 68, 148, 67. That syncs up in Boulder County, and with the 176 and 68. And then you go to Will J. Davis, who was apparently the other owner when they opened it up. It was earlier. It was named some other theater, but they reopened it up and they rushed the construction and stuff. But Will J. Davis, one of the other owners, he had a 68. And then we look at Arson and Reset. They're both 68. And in fact, they match up. Arson and Reset, they match up together. I thought that was kind of interesting. And then also something that came up too was Bezos. He matches up Arson and Reset in 3 of those ciphers, which is pretty interesting.
Here, I want to say something real quick. So here's what stands out to me about this. Like, I appreciate the decode, but just like some of the connections, I don't think they're going to convince people, but just stuff like this is easier. Look, this fire was in 1903, right? On the same day. The Colorado fire happened 118 years later. Now, we already talked about 118 and purposeful fires in a big way. On November 8th, just the other year, on 118, you had the fires in Paradise, California, and Los Angeles, California, which both equal 118, which is a number of death. And again, LA is the city established on the day September 4th, the day leaving 118 days left in the year, plus it's on the 118th meridian west. And again, Los Angeles, California, and Paradise, California are 118. Deaths 118. 118 years later on this deadly fire anniversary, the worst of all time for a building fire, you get another deadly fire in Colorado. And the thing that jumped out to me is yesterday had 83 date numerology. Colorado equals 83. Colorado's also 38, the small way like fire. But yeah, I'll look more into this Iroquois Theater fire. So.
And then one more thing, though, like the 68, it ties in with basically all of that. And you could type out 68, 56.
Okay.
Right? So, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of interesting. And like I said, I'm kind of new at this, and I appreciate what you do, and I'm learning a lot from you. So, I might not be able to decipher these as good as you or other people that have been following it for.
No, you'll get better, but I'm just saying, because some of the stuff's just kind of too deep of connections, and they'll be like, well, why did you choose that person, and why did you choose to connect it to Boulder County or whatever? I mean, usually, when something's on the same date, there's usually something really surface level about the connection.
Right.
So.
Something really simple. I know, if I can simplify it, yeah. Hopefully, I can get.
Teach about the 118 thing, the 118 years, how that number's connected to death. And then again, what they just did in California with the deadliest wildfires in all-time history for the state on 118. So.
Okay. Yeah.
And just keep it simple, man, because you give people too many numbers and they get all confused too. So.
You're right.
All right,
That's
man.
True, but I just wanted to chime in a little bit and say Happy New Year to you. Keep up your work, everybody in chat. Bless up and Happy New Year, and take.
Yeah, you too. Happy New Year, and great finding and great research, and you'll keep getting better. But yeah, the simpler you can keep it, the more effective. All right, man. You have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Take care. All right, 719.
Hello, Zach.
Yeah, what's up?
Zach.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach. I didn't expect to get through. I've just been listening to the live stream here. I found the guy before the last caller that was talking to you in private. I found his conversation really interesting. I've been myself. I don't know what it is, but I got onto just numbers catching my eye and understanding that things are, connected. Everything is connected. There's like you believe there's a higher force that's in play. I found it very interesting how he talks about, or how he said at the end, how the players that you talk about, which, all the secret societies and all that stuff, which I've come to understand through the whole, what they call the Q movement or the Q operation, which I'm at the point to where I don't necessarily trust Trump 100%. I used to more so before I came across your work, and I found it very fascinating. It's pretty interesting, how all the numbers connect and stuff like that. So I just wanted to call and say that I enjoy listening to what you teach, and have been applying the numbers myself, and enjoy doing it. And want to ultimately, like that caller talked about, be able to open my third eye or pineal gland and be able to see the numbers, kind of thing. So I'll let you speak.
Well, I appreciate all that. Thank you for calling tonight, man.
Not a problem. Have a good night.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Yeah, you too. See ya.
See ya. So what do you know? They set Georgia as a 2.5-point favorite. And if you guys weren't here at the beginning of the stream, I played what I said before week 2 of the college football season, why it looked like Alabama and Georgia would be the championship. And a big thing I talked about was 25. So Georgia's a 2.5-point favorite. If they do beat Alabama, Alabama's going to get their 25th loss against Georgia on the Pope's 25th day of his age. Remember, Pope's 25 and 52. Look at where the over-under's at. The over-under's at 52.5. 404?
You actually answered. Yeah, I just wanted to make the point. Like, I don't understand how, like, people think like we be in like a simulation, and like I don't like. I feel like it's a false dichotomy that a lot of people try to create when a lot of people try to be like, oh, it's either all organic or it's all manipulated. Like, there's clearly like an organic side to it, or and there's clearly like a side or a group of people that's like manipulating this shit. You know, like there are organic synchronicities in our life. Like, you get me, right?
Yeah, no, I think we're in agreement that it's a little bit of both, but we're definitely exposing stuff that's like rigged and sinister, and it's not part of the organic matrix. It's like somebody's trying to reprogram the matrix to their benefit.
Exactly. Like my grandma, for example, like she died last month, and what's crazy is that it was in November, but it was the same month that my grandfather died. And what's even more crazy is that my grandmother also had a she also had like a man that she was like staying with. I guess you could say that they were like lovers and stuff. But he ended up dying, and then like at the end of that same week, another family member died in a car crash. Right, they got into a car accident, and then when my grandma died, also within that same week, my sister got into a car accident, but thankfully she survived. But it'd be, weird little stuff like that where it's like, okay, I can see where these people going when it's not even just the numbers stuff. It's not even just like with the numbers in Gematria. It's like just organic synchronicities and just weird ass shit in general, or stuff that we would see weird, but that might be like how the universe works. Like, I don't, when I look at stuff like that, I don't even think that stuff like that is just a coincidence. Like when I say organic synchronicities, I don't even think that it's just a coincidence. I think because when people say coincidence, they're just like blowing something off as something that doesn't really mean anything. It's just something that's random and it doesn't mean anything, or there's nothing behind it, or there's nothing to it. But I think with like what I'm referring to, and calling these things organic synchronicities, I think that there is something to this shit, and that the universe does like work by like a code where it'll make things like repeat itself. If you get what I'm saying. And I think that what my theory about what these people do is, I think that the people that control, the news and stuff like that, and the reason why they make sure they're scripted by this code is that they saw that there was they saw the synchronicities that would happen in real life, and that's why they make sure to, I guess, kind of abuse it, right? They make sure to abuse it and think that they're doing stuff by the code of the universe through their perspective. I don't understand. Like, to me, I just feel like that's like the more logical conclusion to come to, because clearly this stuff it's not all organic. Like, like they're clearly like rubbing it in people's faces, clearly mocking us. They're making sure that to tell us that the New York Jets got the first Muslim coach in the NFL. It's just like, come on, bro. They didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're clearly like playing jokes on us. So there's clearly.
And again, Jay, let's stop right there. For people who don't get it, again, the first Muslim coach on the New York Jets. Again, in 1968, supposedly the lead hijacker on 9/11, who's Muslim, was born. Muhammad Atta, September 1st, 1968. Same year World Trade Center construction began. Same year 911 made the National Emergency Dialing Code. Same year New York Jets had their only Super Bowl winning season. Same year George W. Bush got his skull and bones. And the list goes on. Huge year 1968. And again, you have a Rockefeller, like a Rockefeller's on the cover of Newsweek pointing at his watch, which is 9/11, with the World Trade Centers being built behind him. Rockefeller equals 110. They build the buildings 110 stories tall. Osama bin Laden equals 110, who's a CIA asset. And then they blame it on him after they simulate him attacking the United States in a terrorist attack on June 1st, 102 days before the attack on 9/11 that lasts 102 minutes, when Al-Qaeda equals 102. And so does Art of War, the Jesuit translated text for how to essentially, win and manipulate people in war. I mean, to me, that none of that feels organic. That feels like a straight up mockery. And again, it's just like how they show you Osama bin Laden in the ocean with his back to you 119 weeks from Obama taking office. Now he's been assassinated in 2011 after he took down the building that looked like a big old 11 in New York, the 11th state, starting with Flight AA-11 when 11's the master number. And Bush was the 11th CIA director who gave the speech about the New World Order, a world free or a tear, 11 years to the day. I mean, I don't think that's the organic matrix. I think that's the secret societies, and that's why... See, from my perspective, it's like I saw there was something with secret societies and numbers, and I was trying to figure out what it was, and then I found Manly P. Hall's book, who was a Mason, and he shared a little bit. And then I start looking at that, and I'm saying, wow, it looks like this is what they're doing. They're coding out their damn rituals, just like he's written about in the book. Again, I mean, that doesn't feel like that's the organic matrix to me. That feels like, wow, I figured out how the hell these guys are doing this, and look... This is what they're doing, man. I mean, some of it might be organic, but I don't think the majority of stuff I've been shown over the 8 years has been organic. I think I've been showing the stuff that we're getting manipulated with day in and day out.
Yeah. I mean, just look at the shit that they do with Bill Gates and mosquitoes. I mean, he dropped
exactly
a video of
mosquitoes
making the shape of a Grim Reaper.
Exactly.
During the pandemic, and he's all about mosquitoes.
And it was another 56. Yeah.
What did you say?
And that was another 56 ritual. That whole mosquito week.
Yeah. And I don't even know if you know this, but there was supposedly a big operation with mosquitoes done in 1955. It was called Operation Big Buzz.
I think it was. And there was one done down in Georgia around that time too. I want to say there was one down in 56 in Georgia.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm referring to. It was in the year 1955 though. But it was the same year that Bill Gates was born. So it's just like, you know, like I really think, obviously, like I'm pretty sure like they're trying to tell us something when it comes to this type of stuff. Like, I mean, Mosquito Man, like born in the year one of like probably the biggest mosquito operation that was ever done in the States.
Well, and then he's got the Grim Reaper. He's got the Grim Reaper made out of mosquitoes in this video. I'm playing it right now for people who haven't seen this. The Grim Reaper is connected to Saturn because the scythe comes from the astrological symbol of Saturn. Saturn's related to Satan to the occult. Satan equals 55. Bill Gates is born in 55, has all the number of the beast things in his name. So, I mean, it's all right there. You got the Grim Reaper of the mosquitoes blotting out the sun. It goes all black. So...
Yeah, the Grim Reaper has the same gematria as a decade of vaccines, too.
Yeah. Yeah, and he, for people who forgot, Bill Gates unleashed this right when we unleashed all those genetically modified mosquitoes, and then all of a sudden Michigan was on lockdown for something, some kind of like mosquito outbreak. It's just like, what? So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I just calling in about that.
All right, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Everybody's got a different opinion, man. That's why it's just like this world, man. Everybody's got just two different ideas. It's just anyway.
Exactly.
All right, Jay, man. Have a good night. Appreciate your call.
All right, you too.
Yeah, take care. If you guys don't follow him, Jay Wit Open Eyes. Just leave the A-H off the with. Wit, W-I-T. He's got wit. Jay Wit Open Eyes. He's like on channel number, I forget. He's had a bunch of channels deleted too. But if you just type in Jay with Open Eyes, you'll find him. He's a young man in the community. He's a musician. So. Woo, excuse me. Allergy sneeze. I think I got to change my air filter. Let's see. 803. 803, you got to mute your video.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I just want to say I appreciate your work. That's all.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, have a good night. You know what, you guys? I'm going to leave it there because it's 20 minutes toward the new year, and I got to go wake Sweet Lady up. If you've been wondering where she's been at the whole time, she's been in bed. She didn't feel well, but she said wake her up before midnight, so she went to bed like 5 hours ago. Sweet Lady might be getting a cold right in time for the new year. Anyway, if she gets a cold, you know, I'll probably have a cold right behind her. Anyway. We'll leave it there for tonight, you guys. And hopefully you won on the parlay, man. Again, another future in the books. College and pro, been doing it for 8 years straight. And again, you don't want to sleep on this knowledge. And I just want you guys to realize something. I only charge $5 a month and I put out plenty of information at the dollar tier too. That's that'd be $12 for the whole year if you pledged $1 a month. But let's just say you pledged $5 for the whole year. That ends up being $60 over the course of the year. Imagine you'd taken my advice on, putting a $100 bill down on Alabama, Georgia before week 2 of the college football season. You'd have $2,000+ in your pocket right now. And, we give out futures like that several times a year. And a lot of winning knowledge. And plus, you become part of a community, if you can ignore the trolls, that's doing great work. Like, people like Itachi have stepped up in the last 6 months. Itachi's paying his bills right now. He lost his job because he didn't want to get the vaccine, so he's been paying the bills by using this knowledge to gamble. And I don't think that's the way to survive. People are doing it in this community. They're just gambling off this knowledge and not having a job, and there's people who've been doing it for years now, like Rod. But, there's plenty of people who now make more money off this knowledge than their day job. There's a lot of people in this community that are that way. But again, the point is, it's $60 a year for the tuition of what I teach, week in and week out. And that's really not that big of an investment. I mean, you want to go to state school right now and learn a whole bunch of shit that's probably not really going to help you out that much in life. Might help you get a nice $40,000 a year job out of college if that's worth it to you once you're several $100,000 in debt from the loans you took on. But I guarantee you, for that, whatever you're paying per year, $10,000+ for your college tuition, I guarantee you, it's not going to be half as valuable as what I teach you for $5 a month. And that's not a bullshit statement. This is real knowledge to put you ahead in this world. And at the end of the day, if the one caller's right that this is all organic, well, then you might as well understand the way the world works. If you think it's all organic and this is just the way the world works, well, you better know that too. In fact, I would say that if that caller's right, who I let go on for 26 minutes, if he's right, I'd say this work's even more important than I actually make it out to be, because it's bigger than just exposing a conspiracy. Then it's just the way the whole world works. So anyway, and for all the people who hold the things against me that I get wrong, I mean, it's stupid, man. I've nailed way more. I've been right about way more than I've been wrong about, especially things that really matter, like how 2020 was going to be a really fucked up year if the world didn't wake up. And yeah, I mean, the whole premise of my work is dead on. So anyway, we'll leave it there for now, you guys. And have a good rest of your evening. Try not to drink too much. Hang up. I wish what I could do to end this stream is somehow like open up a portal into the past so you could see me 15 years ago right now. I still man, I was a bad man 15 years ago on this night, but anyway, I'm glad I grew up. And yeah, I tell you what, I was having way more fun on this night 15 years ago, that's for sure. But, yeah, anyway. As I grew up, I realized, man, that there was more to life than just, like, chasing after women and, having a good time. I mean, those things are great and all. You got to do that at some point in your life, I think. You got to live a little bit, but... Oh, I figured this stuff out when I hit 30. And since I've been 30, I've just been a man on a mission to wake people up to what's going on in this world. Because again, like the guy's saying everything's organic, that's not the way I see it. When I got into this, I saw all the censorship coming and the agendas and the police state, and none of that felt organic to me. That felt like an agenda that needed to be stopped in its tracks, and I saw there was something about the secret societies and numbers that was clearly related to it, and that's where it all started. So... the one thing about the one caller is I won't say he's wrong. I mean, there's a chance he's right, but that whole perspective will like take people out of the game of trying to stop the cabal, I'm trying to stop the cabal. I think the cabal can be stopped. There's people that are benefiting in this world off the schemes and scams that are happening, and it's not us. So, anyway, I got to go wake up Sweet Lady. And, again, you guys, just, again, be careful, young people. I used to drink a lot and drink way too much and get super wasted. And just be careful, man. Sometimes shitty stuff happens when you drink too much. Some people get hurt. So, yeah. Anyway, be safe out there. Have a good night. And until next time.